Yo, what's up? What's going on? We're just gonna start going live in a minute. Jay just rolled up. We're gonna scarf some food down, and then we're gonna celebrate this Kickstarter thing. We've got the AC pumping, and I'm gonna pump some tunes. But first, if you want to know when we go live, just hit the subscribe button and hit the bell, and it'll notify you every time we go live. We go live Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern, and the next couple of weeks are going to be live stream from Jay's channel after tonight. Well, actually, there's one coming up this Saturday for the 1-year anniversary of the channel. But if you want to zoom through the replay, you can always 1.5 or 2x the replay. So, excuse me. Oh yeah, I forgot to put it on. It's so hot out. That's something we got to talk about because it's getting hot out, and maybe time to shed the green hoodie. But I'll make sure I get it on before we get going. Thanks for reminding me. Thank you. Thanks for bumping that, Cafes. Yeah, so the next couple of weekends, the next couple of weeks are going to be on Jay's channel because I'm going to be on vacation. I may pop up here and there, but who knows. But I'm going to play a couple tracks. Matt sent me a new one, and I got a couple in the playlist all ready to go. Jay's had to go do something real quick. So, but yeah, we're gonna get this going in a second. I'm going to bump some songs, and all right, here we go. We'll be back. We'll be in once Jay gets some food. We'll get this thing going. All right, this is starting off with Benjamin. Member of Rhea Palm few tracks. Stick around. I'm gonna go eat some food really quick. Hope you guys are all doing well. Thanks for coming out. All right, we'll be back. I'm gonna go grab a couple scarf some stuff down. And, we'll do some celebrating, all right? Catch you in a minute.
half step to get to the bridge. With his goose step, he was now a bridge. No intent to argument, never sure if you could make him smile. But with a stable instrument, make him show and play away while I tell you. Now there's something right, say. Yeah, there's something right now. This way, something right, something right. Yeah, there's something right for me to say. Yeah, there's something right now for me to say. Yeah, there's something right for me to say. Something right. Yeah, there's something right for me to say. Yeah, there's something right now for me to say. Something right. Something right.
Oh, cool. Skylark or something? We're gonna do a slow fade out. Yo, what up, TascFamp? We just ate some food really quick, starting a little bit later than we were hoping, but hey, do what you gotta do. Oh, it's still on here. Fade out.
That's the top
Solid
of it.
state?
No, it's too.
Where'd you get that from?
A friend of his found it in his basement or something and gave it to him.
Oh.
He also just picked
A lot
up
of free amps hanging around.
Yeah, he also just picked up a Roland Jazz chorus for $500.
Nice.
That was a good score.
Yeah, everybody's always looking for those.
Yeah.
Yo, what's going on, guys? We got, so at the top of the hour, we heard from Benjamin. That's Joel's band. Joel from the UK. And then we heard the new one from Reverie of Palms. Matt, send that one to me today. Good
Nice.
stuff. That's the one he sent to Coop for the comp.
Word.
Mr. Nano Rosa got snuck in there again somehow. I don't know how that happened, Mr. Nano, but thank you for sending that one in. That one's awesome. Another one from Benjamin, which I just forgot to reorder these. So, but I'm always down for bumping the Benjamin. I think Joel's got some really interesting stuff going on there. That's his band with his brothers, so that's cool. And then to lock out the set, the bookend it, we have the unreleased Surmiser ESF track.
Yeah.
And that's going to be coming out, what, June 9th?
June 8th is the actual digital release, but June 9th is the release show.
Oh, okay, cool.
The physical CDs actually are on their way,
Yeah,
so we should have those in about a week or so.
Yeah, so Matt, great track. Mr. Nano, all you guys. Joel, thank you so much for sending all this stuff in.
So I can
Yeah. I was having an issue with my
or freaking anticipate here
with some stuff too. It was like I got a new piece of PO box mail. It's from Greg in Pittsburgh. So we're gonna open that in a little bit.
Damn, I'm like way out the shot.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Well,
my shoulders in there.
shit. Okay.
It's my shoulders in there.
I had to use my webcam for my computer.
Styling, of course, because it's nice out and drive with the windows down.
Oh yeah, me too, man.
Tuxedo.
Jay's like he's dressing me under the table right here.
But you know what I think I'm going to do? We got screens coming so we can silk screen our own Surmiser shirts.
Oh, dope.
So I think I'm going to buy a few of these shirts. And I want to call it like the mullet special.
Yeah.
Because it's business in the front. It'll be the Surmiser
set
up in the back.
Yeah. So what's going to be on the back exactly?
I'll show you the design. I can show the...
Yo, Nod, what up?
I can show the viewerage also.
Nod Factor had hit us up a long time ago about the TascFamp. I think the first video, they were like, yo, when is this thing coming out? So Nod Factor, you've been here since the beginning, and this is the I guess this is like I don't know, like kind of the middle of the story because we funded it, obviously.
Yeah.
Congrats to everybody. Congrats to, I don't know, everybody who backed it. We did it. So it's amazing. I sent out a message to the patrons just thanking everybody and saying, like, there's no way we would have been able to do this without you guys in the channel. So
absolutely,
you know,
we appreciate
we were talking
you.
about that like a year ago. I think, oh, that's awesome.
So that's the Surmiser shirt screen.
So good, man. I love that. What is that?
I'm trying to like make it so you can see it. I don't know.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, I guess you can sort of see it. So that's like the non-inverse.
That's awesome.
So that's like an 80s or 90s don't do cocaine poster from a high school health class lab or whatever.
Sticking a gun up your nose?
Yeah, it's like sticking a gun. It used to say cocaine across the bottom, but we don't like cocaine, so it has a Surmiser logo on it now.
Forget which one of these was yours.
You got me a shirt, bro? Shit.
Yeah, dude. One of them is my old one, and then one is the new one. I think this is the new one. I don't want to give you my old one.
I don't care.
But yeah, I got Jay a shirt.
Nice. Good looking out, man.
Boom. I got that for you a while ago, but I forgot that I got it. It was like tucked away in my closet.
Oh, word.
I was going through stuff. I guess I put it in there with the 4-track stuff, anticipating that we were going to hang 10 soon. And I don't know. I just kind of forgot about it. Oh, yeah, that mic. Is that what you're looking at, the mic?
No, I was looking to see if there's power closer because I'm like sort of on a short leash.
Yeah, you can. There's that brown cable. Might not be too far.
That's all good. I got like 16 people fucking hitting me up
Oh my god,
the various.
Jay's a businessman, man.
God,
we're trying out the this webcam thing. For some reason, it wasn't letting me use the webcam that I have. Actually, you can see it right there on the shelf. It wouldn't let that thing work. I don't know why. So, but guys, unfurl the mission accomplished banner. That's right. That's right. We're gonna jump onto the what is that? The aircraft carrier and unfurl the mission accomplished banner. So, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for.
Hey, thanks for pushing my channel out there, Catface.
Oh yeah, we got the Jay's channel. Make sure you go subscribe over there. Jay's gonna be doing the streams.
Yo, so
I'm gonna be away for a couple weeks. So
yeah, next week Mike will be gone. Plan at this point is a friend of mine. We played some of his tracks before, Joe McNulty.
Oh yeah,
he's an acoustic singer-songwriter, but he made a record on what I assume is an 8-track TascFamp. I know
it was like a 464, right, or something.
I think it was like is it 488, the 8-track one? That's what it sounds like. There's way too many tracks going on in that thing to have been a 4-track.
Oh yeah.
So
dude, this coffee is great, man.
I haven't had it yet.
Oh,
I'm waiting for it to cool down for it burns.
Oh my god, we gotta cheers it, man. Oh, Matt's wearing his cassette shirt. Nice. Sorry, not to interrupt. That's awesome, Matt.
So yeah, I think if he can make it up from Brooklyn for it, we're gonna do like a 4 to 6 song live set with him, and we'll do like some discussion Q&A about how he made his record, and we'll pop some of the tracks.
Damn, man, I want to be there for that. Maybe I'll hang out in the chat.
Yeah, man, hang out in the chat.
Yeah,
dude, pull my user.
We'll do a switcheroo. I think that'll be fun. Yeah, so that's exciting, man. Because he doesn't have anything released, right?
No, nothing.
It's crazy.
He, I've been pushing him for a long time to get a little bit of online presence going, and he's got, he's got a Bandcamp or a SoundClick, but he hasn't put anything on it in like 5 years, so it's fucking useless.
He pretty much doesn't have one.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm really trying to like. I feel like he's a great singer. His songwriting is good. He writes around like the same kind of like folky chords all the time, like standard pattern open chord stuff. But yeah, he does a lot of lead stuff that I really like, and that's a lot coming from me actually, because I don't like acoustic shit. As a rule, I'm not an acoustic guy.
Why am I not surprised?
I don't know. You shouldn't be surprised at all. But so with any luck, we'll have him on the channel doing some songs. And we'll do like the normal Q&A that Mike and I do with you guys.
That's gonna be cool.
We'll do with him, and he can tell us a little bit about how he, recorded his latest masterpiece. That I actually mastered it for him one afternoon when he came up.
This was like a couple weeks ago, right?
I guess it was probably about a month and a half ago I mastered it.
Oh man, I guess time is just flying by, because I remember that conversation you had that he was coming up that weekend to do it, or you're hoping that he was going to be able to make it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've played a couple of the tracks that I mastered on the channel at the studio before. But
Well,
yeah,
it was
I think he'll be a good guest for it because he has experience with doing it with the cassette and doing it DIY and sort of lo-fi, and
he's a lot of like live experience too, and I feel like he's got an interesting story. Like he just kind of
he's
street performer. I'm assuming busker.
He's been a traveling busker for years on and off, and he put down roots in the Hudson Valley for about 2.5 years. Met a girl, and they had a house and stuff. And wow, the itch to go back out on the road, I guess, like kind of overcame him, and he ditched her and the house basically, and he bounced around a bit. He came back, and now he's in like a sublet in Brooklyn. His brother's neighbor moved out, but they had a lease agreement that had like 4 months left on it, and it would have cost them more in legal fees and stuff to break the lease than it would have to just pay the rent.
Wow! So
they paid the remaining rent off, and they gave him the keys. So he's staying in a pre-rented, flat in Brooklyn where all he's got to do is pay the electric. So
he's living the dream for the next couple months.
Yeah, he's working in like a carpentry shop somewhere down there in like Williamsburg or something. And,
That's dope. Busking all the time, I bet. Cool.
Yeah.
So the mighty eye. Steve came through. Steve's one of our bros from one of the TascFamp from Scotland, from Glasgow.
Oh, word.
So he said, "Congrats, my man. The TascFamp preamp pedal is a great achievement, and I believe that he has one on the way. So
cool.
Best in the glory, my friend. Can't hang around long. It's past my bedtime. Glad to see the TascFamp are still coming out in force. Thank you, Steve."
I was just watching something. It was like a comedy set in Glasgow.
Really?
I'm trying to remember what it's called though. On Netflix, I constantly watch like the
British,
like English, Scottish,
you can find tons of stuff.
Irish shows. Yeah. Like I tend to gravitate towards that because I love the accents.
Right.
And that might be like a superficial reason to watch things. I don't know, but I'm fascinated by foreign accents like that.
I think it's cool too because you get like a window into. Obviously, they're humans, but it's like you get a window into like a different culture, like a different, almost like
what I really like,
a whole different world.
What I really like about that side of the world and their language is the difference in slang and the way that the enunciation and pronunciation is done versus like what we're used to here. I mean, I'm sure I'm sitting here talking to the channel and to people from like the Midwest or even from across the ocean.
Well, sound like a fucking is Guido, from Ireland, so.
But yeah.
Hey, it's JMA. What? Julian, he said, my main account got suspended for no apparent reason without warning. I really only watch videos with it. I appealed. What? That's so weird.
Huh. Well, welcome on your new account anyway.
Thanks for coming through, Julian. I've seen, I didn't realize that was you, JMA.
Catface is so weird to hear you call the UK accents for it.
Catface is from Ireland.
Right.
Ireland.
Right. But, I watch, the one show that I've been watching, it's Scottish. It's not Irish. It's called Borniston. And it's like kind of like a sketch comedy kind of thing. That's pretty funny. But you almost like, if you're not good with accents, it's kind of hard to process when you first watch it. It's almost like you're listening literally to a foreign language.
Whoa. Is there you put the subtitles on?
No. I can understand it. It just takes me a minute.
Well, that was like something with, did you ever watch The British Office?
Yep.
Like,
even that's
quick jokes in that I had to watch it with the subtitles.
Yeah.
Well, I watched it once through without them, and then the next go around, I put them on, and I couldn't believe how much I had missed.
Yeah, there's I don't know. I really like like I said, like this sort of slang stuff and the way that the pronunciations work. In Borniston, like everything is oos. It's like go in the oos. It's like go in the house, but
go in the oos.
But oos, and there's no, it's nah or nigh, nah. It's like
it's almost like a whole. It's like this. It's English, but it's like a totally different.
Yeah,
language.
it's like this whole like strange dialect that I don't know. I really enjoy that stuff anyway. And if I don't mean to offend with my interpretations of it at all, I'm shit at those accents, but I quite like that stuff.
Have you seen Lilyhammer? That's like another Netflix original.
No.
It's like a guy. He's supposed. We only watched the first episode, but he's like a mob guy that kind of he goes into witness protection and he wants to go to Lilyhammer, which is like like where they had the Olympics one year. It's in like Sweden or something.
Oh yeah.
Super interesting, like just to see how I don't know. There's just something about like the buildings even and the I don't know, like the culture just seems like way more chill and laid back. I don't know. It's cleaner. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like I feel like America. Every time I go, the times I've gone abroad, it's like it's always so much cleaner. And America, everybody's just throwing shit everywhere, throwing shit out their windows, like no care for anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's super interesting. I gotta check out some more stuff on there on Netflix. Julian, that's so weird, my friend. I'm sorry to hear that got suspended. I think YouTube's got some weird stuff going on. The channel's been up for review for a while too, after the whole demonetization, remonetization thing. That's still like in the works. They said, I think in April the application was submitted automatically, and they said, oh, we're backlogged. And I think YouTube, I don't know enough about the inner workings, but I think they're trying to figure a lot of shit out on the back end with all the weird content they got going on and, weird stuff, because they had a big falling out with a lot of these advertisers, which pays the bill, pays the electric to throw all the servers up so that we can hang out on here. So I guess you got to, unfortunately, when you have a business like that, you got to keep the people happy, So, yeah. And that's another reason why I have a mailing list if anyone's interested, or you just email me and I'll add you to it. Just because if YouTube ever blows up, like, YouTube, I don't know.
If it ever blows up.
Yeah, it's like, well, they say the longer something has been around in terms of programs, the longer it will continue to be around. So YouTube's been around for, 10 years. So it'll probably be around for another 10, maybe not in the same format, but I guess what I'm saying is like, if they somehow pulled the plug on the 424 recording channel, well, I guess we got the forum, so join the forum, or we'll find you out there. But because the channel is the main circling of the wagons or whatever. So I would just hate. I just like that those kind of stories, Julian, like just freak me out. It's like this main channel that got that's crazy. Like it got 9 years old suspended. I don't know. So I don't know what's going on with YouTube. I hope that it seemed like they had figured some things out, but.
Oh, I found it. Sorry, not to backtrack, but Chewing the Fat is the other show that I've been watching.
Oh, John Pittman, Jeb, what's going on?
Yo, what's up, man?
Cafe said they used to show Rab C. Nesbitt.
Yeah, I saw that come up in the searches. I haven't watched it.
I feel like I've heard of that too. Or I've seen that name because I had a teacher in high school, Mr. Nesbitt. Yeah, science teacher. So like that immediately, I was like, Mr. Nesbitt? What? Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm fascinated by that stuff. It's I guess weird like that.
Chewing the Fat is by the same guys who made Still Game. Is that one?
I haven't watched that one yet either.
I've seen that one too from the guy from the guys from like Hot Fuzz. Have you ever seen those movies?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shaun of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a show they were in, or the one guy was in. Those movies are great.
Yeah, they are.
But funny. I forget what I think it's called. Like, it seems like a Gen X kind of show. Like it's like 90s Britain. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the ones I watched. I don't know. If any of you guys know what that one is. It's called like Space, I think, or something like that.
I don't know that one.
If you're just joining us, welcome to our channel. We just review Scottish, British, UK-based Netflix shows. So
yeah.
If you got anyone that you thought to talk about, like hit us up in the chat. Yo, Giant Tree. I don't know if I said what up, but what up?
What up?
Yeah, those are great movies, Nod. I love those too. I had never watched Hot Fuzz. I saw a bunch of other ones and finally got around to it. That's hilarious, man. Father Ted.
Father Ted.
No, that sounds really familiar.
That's a BBC. Is it a Scotland? BBC. I don't know. Yeah,
I think it is BBC, right?
Yeah, I feel like that's on Netflix too.
Oh, Irish Comedy from the 90s.
I feel like that one was on Netflix too. Father Ted like solves crimes, right? He's like a whatever, a Catholic priest or Channel 4.
Catholic priest by day, crime solver by night.
Wait, did somebody write that?
No, I was paraphrasing what you said as a possible tagline.
Yeah, I think that's basically about like what Netflix had that written out as, if I'm remembering the right thing.
I feel like that is it, because that sounds like super familiar. Because maybe in one episode he's just a priest. Oh,
you know what else I watch a lot? I go on YouTube and I look up people like speaking Cockney, like Cockney rhyming slang. Have you ever heard any of that shit?
No.
Oh, it's fucking brilliant.
Like
that's like an East End like London thing, but like it's
one of those dialects where it's like if you don't know what they're
it's
talking
not
about,
even a dialect.
You do not know what they're talking about.
Well, like the dialect is strange to our ears too, but also it's based on rhyming. So like, so they'll take a phrase like the most common one I guess is like apples and pears. So if you went in the house and went up the apples and pears, apples and pears, stairs.
Yeah.
That's basically like how Cockney rhyming slang works.
Oh, so interesting. So you can just make up your own.
Basically, well, you could, but there's like accepted ones. It's like its own thing. But it was basically, I guess, the people who worked the markets in the East End made up this rhyming slang language to
talk about people.
No, to talk about things and to warn each other ahead as like the cops were rolling through.
Oh.
So you put like the illegal shit away or whatever it was. You know, but it turned into this whole thing like meat pies, eyes, like what the hell was the other one? Something in plates. Was it plates and meat? Something in meat is feet. I forget. But there's like this whole thing, and it's I've watched every single video I could find of that, of people just speaking it or people, you know, whatever. There's one where like the guy's getting like a taxi. It's on YouTube, and it's like. They're basically like verbally abusing this cab driver for overcharging them or whatever. And it's like, right, naughty geezer. Like, that's one of my favorite ones. It's fucking hilarious. I'm naughty. I'm proper naughty. Proper naughty. Yeah, I suggest you look that one up. Brilliant. I'm proper naughty.
Oh, man. So... party time. I feel like
don't image search BBC. Oh man,
does the logo come up or something?
No,
I know. No worries, going. It's a little too early to be pulling those out. Just because.
Got me. Oh.
So what's funny about the Kickstarter thing is like it funded really quickly, and it felt like at that point it was over, and then it was like just. Kept going, you know. Like I feel like we could have put it up for like a week, and it would have been fine.
I don't know. I mean,
I think if I was to do another Kickstarter, I don't know if any of you guys have experienced a Kickstarter. I would definitely, because you can do 30 days or less. You can do 60 days.
So when we put together the official 424 recording compilation and want to do it on 12-inch vinyl, that's how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
1 week.
Do it 1 week.
1 week run.
7 days.
Hopefully we make it, or else your songs don't come out.
Yeah. Yo, Tim, what's going on? Good to see you, my friend. Tim's coming through. He's down in Philly right now. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, we're just chilling. We're doing like a little celebratory stream. We're just hanging out, talking Kickstarter. Tim, actually, I gotta give a shout out to Tim because, I just want to give a shout out to Tim all the time, but he's chilling in the lab right now. That's awesome. Tim's the bug man, so. He's checking out the microscopes.
Oh, word.
But yeah, Tim really helped me out with the Kickstarter and like, cause he did a successful Kickstarter for his, I think we were talking about it on one of the streams, maybe the stream he was on, the last one. And so he really helped me like formulate the art and like figure out what you need and, you know, what's good to have, stretch goals if you want, like, you know, this and that. So thank you, Tim. Thanks for all your help, like putting it together. That really helped out. Cause I mean, you know, it's one of those things, the more you do something, the better you get at it. But I'd always seen people do Kickstarter projects and those things, but never really dabbled in it.
I'm trying to remember I think it's off of the one Eminem record. chilling in the lab, wasted. I'm the type that'll drink Kahlua and gin, throw up on the mic.
I think that's Beastie Boys, right?
I'm pretty sure it's off of that.
Marshall Mathers.
Yeah, the Marshall Mathers LP. There's one where like D12, all the guys rap on it with them.
Oh,
like
okay.
guest verses.
That's like the Purple Pills.
No, well, that might have been with them, but no, that was the D12 song.
Oh, okay.
But this has like all the dudes, whatever. I forget what the song's even called. I have it on cassette though.
Oh wow.
The truck only plays cassettes or the radio, so
interesting.
if I have cassettes, they play in the truck.
That's dope.
So I have like Cannabis 2000 AD. I have that Eminem thing.
That sounds like the best. Like
I got the Surizer thing. I got some mixtapes of punk rock shit that I made when I was like a kid.
Yeah, you were blasting that one song the other day. That you were like, I used to listen to this song when I was like,
oh yeah,
it's a good song. I
Newtown Neurotics.
Yeah.
Living with Unemployment.
Right. Yeah, that's a great track.
Yeah, that's a really good song. I wish it wasn't so long though. I feel like they could have edited that for content.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's not like a single version, or maybe that's like the punk rock aspect of it.
I think if I
they're like, shit, we wrote a good song. Let's just make it 8 minutes.
Well, they didn't actually write that song.
Oh, really?
They stole that song from another band and rewrote the lyrics to it.
So they stole like the melody, or
the whole song except for the lyrics.
That's interesting.
What the hell was the original one called?
It's like a band of the same era, or was it like?
Yeah, not that long before them.
Weird.
Solitary Confinement was the name of the song originally. I forget what the band was called that did it.
Right. I remember you telling me that.
But the Newtown Neurotics version is way better, and it relates a whole lot more accurately to most people's lives, I feel like.
Yeah, it's a good track.
You also have to know English slang to decode that.
That's right. That's right. It all goes back to the English slang. I remember you telling me that too.
Living in a bed sit, bunking on tube trains. If you're from America, there's a good chance you don't know what that means without researching it.
Yeah, it's one of those things I think I kind of have the gist of it, but I don't know exactly what it means.
Well, we would call a bed sit here a studio apartment.
Okay.
Or less, like an efficiency apartment almost.
Okay. Tube trains.
And bunking on tube trains. So bunking is like jumping the turnstile and illegally riding tube trains, which is subways. But it could also be that like there was like a thing where people have pretended to be asleep on subways so that they could like skip their stops and go further or whatever. Yeah, so it could mean one or the other. But I suspect with that band in the context, it means jumping the turnstiles and riding the trains illegally.
Right. See, I thought for some reason, bunking, I mean, just because here bunking is like bunk beds.
Yeah, right.
So you'd think maybe it was sleeping.
Yeah.
That's interesting, though. I never realized it's like jumping that shit.
Well, when I hear a song like that.
Oh, bunking off is also skipping school.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so if you're like
bunking
off, skipping school, you'd be
trains.
Bunking, you'd be bunking the tube trains in that context. The way I understood it is it'd be like jumping the turnstiles, avoiding the coin op to actually ride the train, you know, or avoiding the guy at the ticket window or whatever.
Yeah, and just like riding the trains all day while you're supposed to be like learning about maths.
No, it's like maths. No, it's like jumping on them and riding them illegally because you're too poor to afford to ride them.
Right.
That whole song is like, what does he say? You don't know no one because you don't go out, because you don't got work, you just watch television. Living with unemployment. Yeah.
It'd be funny if the copyright tags that and they're like,
I would love to cover that song.
Yeah, you guys should, man. Oh, in the southern U.S., bunk means fake.
Yeah.
Like this dollar bill is bunk.
I would love to see somebody fake a tube train, though.
I feel like this is like kind of.
I don't know. I look like washed out, like in the wrong way.
Yeah, it's like.
It's so grainy. I look like
Jesus.
fucking ET tonight because we're not using the usual camera.
Well, I had the thing set up over there, and then YouTube said you can't use this. Webcam streaming is not available. So I don't know what happened between that last week and this week, or the week before, or yesterday. It worked. That's what I used. I used that.
It's weird.
Webcam, and then it was too late. Like I just had to start the stream, so
I
didn't want it to I don't know where my phone is either.
I plugged my Square reader in 2 weeks ago, and it told me that it was a headphone device instead of a card reader. And then the Square app put up a message, and I had to log out and log back in. It told me that like I was running an illegal hardware accessory, and that my account could be put under review for using like a possible like whatever bootleg piece of hardware. It's like, what? You guys fucking sent me this. What do you mean? So I unplugged it and plugged it back in, restarted the app, and it was fine. But
yeah.
Super weird.
When in doubt, turn it on and off, and turn it on again. Guys, by the way, how is the sound right now? Because we have the AC blasting, my computer mic. Just curious if it's like business as usual, or if there's anything if we're too low. I'm just curious because we've been changing up the.
Yeah. John, I've met a lot of people who have been train hoppers and lived that life like firsthand, and yeah, I don't think I would want that life. Even though it's
I've
like
met some guys like that, people like that.
The free travel is cool, but if you actually like talk to the people who live that way, like that's some super dangerous shit. Yeah. Like the reason they have dogs is to warn them that like while they're sleeping, somebody's coming to like stab them in a boxcar. You know, it's like, and then train workers, especially in like the Midwest, will like beat the fuck out of you and try to kill you and stuff for being like in the train yards.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff out there that's like really not a good thing. But I did learn some cool terminology from some of those people.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Dirty face and clean face.
What's
so
that?
If you're riding a train dirty face, which way where are you facing?
Into the wind?
You're facing the locomotive. So whichever way forward is, you're facing forward. They call it dirty face.
The coal.
Because if you ride that way, all the brake dust blows back and it sticks to your sweaty, greasy face.
Oh.
If you're riding clean face, you're either facing
the caboose.
You're usually sitting on the back of a car, like towards the caboose. That would be clean face. So that was one very interesting one, and probably the most important one.
Yeah, like it sounds like okay, it could be fun, but like that's just not for me.
I would love to do it, but I would die.
Well,
there's no way I could survive.
There's one guy I've lived vicariously through on YouTube. I forget the channel. It's like Dave's Great Adventure or something, and I think he may be British or Irish. And
train hop.
Came to the States and Canada to train hop.
Yeah.
And the whole channel is just these 2-hour-long videos of him like filming his rides and like filming his jumps, and like it's scary, man. Because like there's so many times when he almost gets caught. People are chasing after him. People try to fight him, or
Well, that
they're looking for him constantly. Like even when he thinks they're not, like all of a sudden they could like nab him. I don't know. That sounds so scary.
The one cool thing about that whole lifestyle is that a lot of those people tend to band together. So you have little like crews of them that travel together, or they congregate in certain places at certain times of the year. They have like encampments and shit.
Yeah.
And it's also, I was talking last time I was in New Orleans, I was talking to 3 trained kids that were spanging on the street, basically, bum and change. I sat down and talked to them for a while. I was like petting their dog and shit. They were telling me about, different things that happened out there. But their whole game is that like when the weather's really hot, you get like midsummer, they all take trains up to Canada. And they ride across Canada and they do whatever they're going to do up there because the weather's fairer. And then as it starts to get cold, they start jumping southbound trains, and they all like Texas or Louisiana somewhere in the wintertime to try to keep warm because they're obviously sort of living homeless.
Oh,
Brave Dave, yeah, watch those.
Yeah. This is the guy.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna just link everybody.
Yeah.
What do you think what's the purpose of that? Oh, Brave Dave. Yep. I think this should be one of his vids.
What's the purpose of what?
Well, like, so the life's like, what do you get out of the lifestyle? They just want to always be moving around.
No. So a lot of the people that I've met that do that, while they are sort of like crust punky sort of people,
they're just trucking along. They can travel cheaply.
No, it's really most of them are like runaways.
Right.
Ran away from home in their early, mid, late teens, whatever, and that's the lifestyle that they lead. A lot of them were victimized as they were growing up and stuff. There's a ton of that. And there are some who are just like you know, they were like young adults and got out of prison or whatever and fucking decided that the man was never going to have his thumb on them again, so that they, you know, but those are the ones you got to watch out for. They're the ones that'll fucking cut you.
So it's mainly so the like I think Kathy said, migrating bird logic. So it's like it's really just trying to escape or trying to just go somewhere where the weather is mild. Or?
Yeah, well, I mean that's the ones I was talking to.
Is it just they're just constantly going back and forth, or they're like going somewhere, hanging out for a while?
Well, like the ones I was talking to, you know, they would go from, so they were in Louisiana when I was speaking with them, but after that, as the weather warmed up, they were trying to take trains out to the West Coast. They were going to spend some of like the spring months out there, and then they were going to take trains up through British Columbia and then back across to Montreal where they had friends. And there was some like basically like an encampment in the woods, like outside of Montreal, someplace that they were headed for.
Wow.
Some people that used to be around here in the summertime, there was an encampment that used to happen that they would go to down Virginia someplace. And there'd be like 150 like crusty train kids. Like it was this bridge somewhere in the woods in fucking Virginia, like an abandoned rail bridge. But it was huge and they lived underneath it. They would set up this whole thing. I've seen pictures of it. It's fucking nuts. But,
that's crazy. Like
you know, and then, city. Yeah. And well, it was like they hung tarps on either side of the bridge. And everybody had their spot underneath this fucking thing. And like on top of the bridge, they would do bonfires and have their, you know, whatever.
That's cool.
Just chill. But, you know, I've given a bunch of them rides too. Like that's how I learned about the clean face, dirty face thing. Giving train kids rides that were like bombed out at like the mobile station by the studio and stuff. I dropped some of them off by 5 Points on the way to Rosendale one night after work. 2 of them were sitting there. So I pulled up. I had room in the car for 2 and offered to give them a ride, whatever. And then like a third dude who was like half asleep and drunk was like in a pile of like their clothes and belongings, like sleeping like Indian style and folded over.
Oh my gosh.
And he like popped up and he got up. He was a big motherfucker. He had like this boot knife, fucking big like thing strapped on his leg. I was like, maybe we put that in the trunk.
Yeah.
But they were totally fucking chill. It was 2 guys and a girl, and they were, you know, they were definitely like on the rough side, but it was, you know, it was good conversation, and they appreciated the ride. It was cold, and they had a friend coming from New Paltz to pick them up. They were coming down here to work. I don't know what it was. I guess it was like, that was probably late winter, early spring one year, and they were coming down to work on somebody's farm down here for the spring. And then they were going to bounce out again. So, you know, I like meeting people and getting life stories and learning about what they come from and what's going on out there, because it's a great big fucking world, and we only ever really get to see pieces of it. So
the thing is, like, I feel like a lot of people that do that kind of stuff, or like crust punk, you know, alternative lifestyle kind of people, they're always usually pretty chill, and like you can just strike up a conversation with them.
I'm pretty sure those train kids, like if I had been in any way aggressive, I probably would have got stabbed to death. I really don't have any like misconceptions about that at all. Like those guys carrying knives like that shit. And, like, you know, I mean, they're prepared to defend themselves. But I didn't, other than when that dude sort of stood up out of surprise, I didn't feel threatened at all in that exchange. I thought it was.
I think
we talked like anything else. And we discussed things, and it was chill.
Unless somebody's like has some real serious mental issue or something, it's like most people are pretty chill. Like they don't really want to cause trouble with you.
Yeah, those kids had come down from, I think it was Montreal. They had spent 3 or 4 days before that outside a rail yard in Albany until they found a train that was headed the right way. And they jumped and came down to where we were. They jumped off. There's an exchange someplace outside of Saugerties where it's like a second track. And whatever they were riding landed there, so they jumped off and walked into town. And yeah,
it's an interesting lifestyle.
It really is. I mean, it's if it wasn't for all the dangers involved, it would be really fucking amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's the risk you take for leading that type of existence. You know?
Yeah, I think it's easy to romanticize that idea,
for sure.
But when you actually like meet the people and talk to them about the realities of it, and they'll talk to you. I mean, it's like if you come at them like they're people and that you're interested in their stories, they're more than happy to talk to you.
That's what I was trying to say before. Is like
They will bum your cigarettes and change.
How you approach them, or how you approach anybody,
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've had some very interesting experiences talking to those kind of people.
Yeah, I remember like being at shows and stuff as like a younger guy and a kid, and always meeting, or going on tour or something and playing a show somewhere, and then there's like a couple trained people, a couple trained kids, and it's like I remember so vividly the one guy I met this one time. He just like smelled like the earth. I don't even know.
Yeah.
It was like the most earthy, like it was like
that's what happens
natural.
when BO stops thinking, man.
No,
it was like the fuck out.
It was like I don't know. It was the strangest thing, man. It wasn't like, I guess maybe it's a little bit romantic, but like he didn't. It was just weird, man. It was like there's this. I don't know.
Well, you can always sort of pick them out. They're almost always wearing Carhartts.
Yeah, they're always having like
Carhartt pants, usually coverall or overalls, but sometimes it's just the pants with the cargo pockets. There's always some kind of like serious like military boot involved.
Yep.
And a lot of times it's like dreadlocks with like beer caps and shit clamped in it. I've seen that a ton of times.
Yeah,
usually a black hoodie with some band name written on it that you can't read because it looks like black metal. But anyway, we're getting way off track here, I think. So
hey, thanks, Matthew.
So yeah, we're here.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll bring it back. So how we went from Kickstarter celebration to train kids.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is how we roll on 424, though. We're just chilling, having fun. That's what I was trying to say before. Is like I feel like the celebration. I was looking back at some of the Instagram posts, and I was like, "This is nuts!" Like it funded so quickly, and then it was like that for me. That was like, "Oh man, we did it!" Like we celebrated. We had that live stream. That's what I mean. Now it's just kind of been like not falling action, but it's been a little bit. It's like I don't know. It's strange because to me, so with the Kickstarter, I honestly thought there was like a 50-50 shot of it funding. What did you think when we put it up? What was your odds like?
I expected by the end it would fund.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting it to fund anywhere near that fast. And I also thought that when we were a couple days into it and it had funded, I figured we were going to hit like 4K or better. But I think we landed in a really good place. I mean,
just to even funded it, like I said.
Yeah.
I honestly thought it was about 50-50. I know there was a lot of people like Nod, Skiz, Catface, like.
What's really cool about it is
they were asking about it. They were like, "Yeah, I'm going to snag one of these." So it was like,
but the community really rallied behind what we were trying to do, and the fact that like that money's there, we can now like make this slick looking fucking thing. Thanks to Will for the graphics on that, and we can make you this slick looking fucking thing that gives you the exact sound of that prototype, and you can be proud that you were
the slickness. That's cool.
You can, make you one too.
I know, but
you can be proud that you were like part of the process.
Don't try your own supply.
But I was just saying this to Eli at Nacho House before. It's like this preamp thing really is like the first thing that I've built that has gotten any sort of like push or consideration to be like a product. Out of like all the pedals and shit I've built, regardless of how they look or what they sound like, it's like whatever. You get a few people that are into it, and then you don't really do shit with it. But this thing really, like, I think right out of the gate sort of had like some magic and a little bit of following.
Yeah.
Just because of who it's coming from, I guess, and
I think
what its intention is.
Like, well, that's kind of what I was saying at the beginning of the stream. That's what I said to my patrons today too. Is like, there's no way that this. I don't believe that there's any way this would have funded it had it not been for the channel.
Yeah,
had it not been for like the community that's grown in the past year. Like I thinking about trying to do something like this a year ago or 2 years ago, it would have never happened.
Although I will say that dude, when I was talking to him, had like 6 or 8 of his friends from like all over the country, like messaging him with a link to the Kickstarter, like, "Yo, did you hear about this thing?"
Oh, they were messaging.
So Eli, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
That's what he said anyway. So I mean,
6 to 8 people.
Yeah, from around the country. So there's
it's got out there a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I think Kickstarter too, man. Like, there's definitely some Kickstarter. There's a community. That's what I like about Kickstarter too, and that's something that Tim was telling me. Kickstarter, because Tim made a board game, so there's a big board game community.
Right.
But then there were some people that just, like because of the day it came out, and like people just peruse Kickstarter. So Kickstarter is like a social media platform as well. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
There's people that have been on it for years. project comes out in their wheelhouse, in their genre
in their
they
sight
follow.
lines, yeah.
Yeah, and they
Sure.
say, hey, that looks cool. Boom, I'll fund it. That looks dope. Hey, here's a couple bucks. Like,
yeah.
So there's that too aspect of it, which I think is cool. So maybe you're not giving. Maybe I'm not giving it, or we're not giving it the
fair credit.
Yeah, like there's a couple factors into like, but I honestly believe it's because of the site. I mean, not the site, because of the community, the fam, the channel. Yeah. Like having done the channel, doing the videos, showing off what this thing can do. The audience was there for this, and, and it was. Sure. I mean, it was literally the history of it. I think was kind of like, I think I just asked you to build me one because I don't know. I wanted to use it.
I'm trying to remember. I think it was like 6 or 8 months ago it first came up. Like, hey, what would it take to build like a 4-track preamp in a box?
Yeah, because
I was like, yeah. Then I didn't figure I'd ever make one.
Right. And I kept hounding you about it.
Yeah.
So it was you did. Well, that was the thing. It was like because after using the 4-track, like for as long as I've been using it, it's like that's one of the most compelling things I love about it is the unique fuzz, distortion, overdrive, and how you can use that on everything. And that's what Jeb just said. You showed so many different uses. Pretty much everybody can use it. The only one we didn't show was we did show it in a stream, but I should do that as a recap. Like maybe one of these days, or we should do it at the studio. The acoustic through it.
Oh, we should.
That's like that was one of the main acoustic, like the Neutral Milk Hotel. There's that other band I referenced to, Level Up. There's definitely one of their songs where I think Hidden Driver, one of them. It's like that has got to be a fuzzed out 4-track. I don't know if anybody knows those guys. I would be so interested to know what that was done with because it sounds like they ran it through like the 414 or 424.
Boxed it out.
And I know that's like a lot of the sounds on even some of those earlier Neutral Milk Hotel tapes, like the really early Elephant 6 stuff. Like you probably find that stuff on YouTube. You bring those up, you'll hear it. It's like, oh, that's definitely a 4-track. Like that's definitely like an acoustic guitar just blasting through the 4-track.
Yeah, Jeb, we did it on the live stream. It was either Mike or myself or both of us. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was.
In the other room. And then the other
like,
one running the pedal.
Yeah.
I know we did it, but
because like I remember doing a little wiser.
Yeah.
And being like, this sounds cool.
Yeah.
You know? But we never did like an official. It was one of the. I can't believe we forgot to do that one. But well, that was the thing too. We took our time to really set this thing up.
You know what else we didn't do with it? We didn't run a preamplified acoustic guitar through it.
Oh yeah.
That would be interesting.
Well, we could
not
still
sure
do
what
it.
that was. Well, I don't have a preamplified acoustic guitar. An acoustic with like a preamp and the whole shit built in.
I have that. Well, it's a pickup I put in it. Does that count?
Is it active? It's got like an EQ and the preamp and shit?
Yeah, it's just got a volume knob.
Yeah. I would do it with one that has like the active preamp.
Well, that's the thing. So here's the thing Kickstarter also sent to me today.
That was a very exciting evening. We covered a lot of fucking ground that night in rapid fire succession.
Well, that was like you sent it to Shauna and they were like, because it was
3 hours.
3 hours. I can't watch this. Yeah. Like, we got lots of shit.
Watch it at fucking 1.5x or whatever.
Yeah, 2x.
Fucking complain. She was sick in bed too. Like, watch the goddamn thing. You got nothing to do for the next 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, 3 hours is crazy long, but we had a lot to show off.
In the scheme of life,
I think that was the longest.
Though.
I think that was our longest stream to date.
That was a good one. But that also was the longest cleanup to date, I think. There was like fucking cables and shit just everywhere.
Well, because we just kept pulling shit out. Like, all right, let's try this. Let's try that.
Lights were tangled and everything.
That was a fun fucking night, man.
But
we didn't. I don't think we had any issues with the stream quality. I don't know what happened. That night it was like pristine. We were running around different rooms doing shit.
You know what I wanted to mention too?
What's up?
So over the winter doing sessions, right? Like I noticed like some resonances in my building, right? So like cutting loud bass tracks, I noticed things like vibrating that weren't vibrating before, and I attribute that to the dryness of the framing and studs and stuff. So I did this session with this guy. I played it for you the other day, or last time you were up. That bass and drum thing I was doing with that dude.
Oh yeah,
kind of like Doomy thing.
He came back up, right, to the drums.
Oh yeah, I didn't play that.
No, I always heard.
So, but since it's gotten warmer and a little bit more humid, and the building is like expanded again, like drums are sounding totally different. Bass guitar is sounding totally different. Fucking incredible. I think I got to put a humidifier in my building.
So wait, does it sound better?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah. Drums are sounding tighter, like fucking crazy. But I was kind of curious if anybody else in the stream, though, the reason I brought it up is because I was curious if any of you have experience things like that. Differences in the weather affecting the way things sounded in your space, or because it's something that I guess I've been aware of before, but I've never really noticed as acutely as I did this year.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the only reference I know is like I used to play. I was actually in marching band. It was a band. Or what do they say? I don't know. But that was that was like a big thing because you play like in the winter time or like when it was warmer out.
Yeah.
You'd always like the brass instruments. They'd constantly be expanding, contracting.
Sure.
Like, totally different sound, but like never anything like studio wise I've ever experienced.
You have an aux cord plugged into those?
Oh, that's true too. Humidity on guitars and my voice.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have an aux cord that goes to your monitors? Or not really.
I could grab one.
I was just curious if you got one that goes in. I could show you what that track came out like. One of them. I only have one on here. So I also like where you guys have always seen like me playing drums in the studio or whatever. I moved the drums like out into the middle of the room, kind of in a place where they haven't been in a really long time. And
oh yeah, is that how
that? Oh my God, what a difference! Like the space in the mix to my ear, and what a difference. But so I'm going to play you this guy's track real quick, just because I can.
I have this. This should work, right? This is
yeah, that'll work. You got a way to get that into the system?
Yeah, I can do. Do we need stereo or is it
stereo? Yeah, you got a way to do it. Will it just patch in?
Yeah. That's one thing I really want to figure out this year for the stream and for stuff is getting the sound better.
Well, I know how we can do it, man.
Well, that's what I was talking about last night.
Yeah. I know exactly how we can do it. So this guy.
Try right now.
This guy is called Anthony Bax. He's a drummer primarily, but he plays bass and some guitar too. So he came up and did bass tracks to a click, and then he came back up and put drums on it. He needed a revised mix where I took out one of the fuzz bass tracks that we did. So this is that mix. There's no guitars or vocals on it, but it's just want to kind of give it to you for context.
This is like oh, it sounds great, man.
And there's only a slight bit of plate reverb on the snare and the two toms. Everything else is right.
That's awesome.
Is that in stereo or is that in mono?
Stereo. Yeah, they're up. Yeah, stereo. That's stereo there. I feel like Minutemen.
A little bit. It's a little bit like Rape Man.
Okay, yeah.
A little shellacky, some of the songs.
Sure, yeah. So what's next for this? Is there guitar going on this? Vocals?
I'm putting guitar on 3 of them.
Nice.
And then I don't think there's any vocals going unless I decide to do something.
You gonna bust out your aluminum neck guitar?
I won't pass on that.
And this is you playing drums or him?
That's it.
Oh, cool. And he played, that's interesting too, he played the drums to this after the bass was down. That's impressive. It's hard to do, I can't do that. This is cool, man.
It's kind of hard to get like the vibe from it, I guess, just because it's
I
like
like
a
it a lot.
random thing. But
No, I kind of get like a Minuteman type vibe from that. It's like all you need now is just like some trebly guitar on there.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna kind of play noisy guitar. He's really into like Jesus Lizard and shit too.
Oh yeah. Totally. Oh yeah. How did I not think of that?
There's a lot I can do.
Hell yeah.
Without
What's the name of that project? That's fucking cool, man.
I'm not sure what he calls it. I'm not sure. That song's called Graze.
Graze. Damn, that's cool.
Graze. But
yeah, Jesus Lizard, totally. I could totally hear that, man.
yeah, I'm not sure.
It's so
what
funny, like that like genre, or not genre, but like that. I could totally get. Yeah, that's awesome.
I turned your volume all the way down.
Thanks.
I don't know how that thing mutes, but
this button here. Okay. I don't know, man. I got something happening with this thing.
So yeah, that's that thing. But it really like.
That's cool, man. I love that stuff. I would love to collaborate on that thing if he's looking for more people. Probably.
I'm sure he'd be down to have you play on it. He's coming up next week.
Even just even just as like, you know, if he likes it, cool. If he doesn't, cool. Like I have no sort of.
Yeah. No,
like, I just think it'd be cool to put something over that. I think that sounds cool.
He's coming up next Monday to do more bass tracks, and then we're doing drums again. I think the following Friday.
And now, where is this guy from? I think you told me. Is he from Rockland?
He's from down. He lives down here, down in New Paltz somewhere.
Oh.
He's from. He lived in the city for a long time. Yeah, sort of been all over, but
you got like out of the shot again.
Yeah, no, it's like I turned to like do the thing, but
yeah, this setup's not the greatest.
It's all right.
This fucking
as long as you can hear me.
Yeah, they said the audio is good, which is all I care about
anyway.
I just because with the AC, it was balls hot here. Is that what people say? Balls hot? I don't know if it's
hot as balls.
Oh, hot as balls. It was hot as balls here, and
yeah.
We put the ACs in because I was like, I live on the 3rd floor, and it's like there's no way we would be able to survive. It was like 90 today.
Do you think I should accept an offer of $395 for that Kalamazoo reverb amp I got?
Yeah, that
goes $650 on eBay.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know, man. I think like $395. That what about? Is that with shipping or you're selling on reverb?
Yeah,
because reverb is going to take what 3%, and then a credit card processor. That's the thing, man. Like I've been selling a couple things on there, and I feel like I've been getting hosed. I don't think I'm going to be selling. I don't think I'm going to be buying anything anymore.
He offered me $375. I'm asking $395, so I guess $20 isn't that bad. But do I really want to sell it and ship it to Salem, Oregon?
I mean, if you need the cheddar, I would say go
I don't need the cheddar
it.
as much now as I did when I listed it. So
it's a cool kit, cool piece of kit, cool amp.
Yeah,
but if you don't need it and you need the cash flow,
no, I don't know if I need the cash flow that much. What would I do with $375 after I put a starter in my truck for $100? What I do with $275 extra dollars? Buy a whole bunch more cigarettes, grape soda.
Well, put it against like put it this like debt or loans or something, or like
maybe put it towards like an Apollo.
Account. There you go.
Savings account. I had a savings account.
Pizza party. Cafe said pizza party.
For 2 months, I had a savings account. So I made a deal with myself. If I did a job and the payout on the job was less than $50,
yeah,
it went in the savings account. So I banked up a whole $100 in there. $100 I put away.
What'd you do? You
flushed it right out and paid bills with it. It's gone.
Yep. Well, that's like what happened.
I got $6.01 in there now.
Yo, easy. What's going on? We're streaming from my computer webcam or computer eyesight type thing. I don't know what it is. It's the camera that's in my camera and audio that's from my laptop. So it's a good, bad, ugly. What do you think, Easy?
Cafe asked about a looper.
Oh yeah. I forget. I think I looked at. It's like one of the easy projects for beginners.
Is it?
It's like a pretty well-known one. I have it in my drawer, but I don't know what it was.
Did it use the chip from Radio Shack?
No. I think it was all just like wires and let's see.
Oh, you're talking about a feedback loop.
Yeah, it was like a feedback looper, but looper. But it was also like I was also using it to like basically what I do with my Sans amp and the LS2 line selector. So like it was like a feedback looper, but then I also just made it because I just wanted a switcher.
If you're looking for something like that, look up the schematic for the Death by Audio Total Sonic Annihilation. There are like tag board versions of that or whatever. It's literally 4 jacks, a pot, an LED, a switch, and a battery. That's actually what made Death by Audio. Did you know that? That was their first product.
Oh, you did tell me that. You did tell
he
me
wanted
that.
to go on a backpacking trip across Europe, and he was trying to figure out how to fund that when he was in like, senior in high school or something. And he built that fucking thing, and people went apeshit for it on the internet. And not only did he fund his backpacking trip, but it was the foundation of his company.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And that's so funny because it was like a side project, kind of just project he did as like, I want to make money to go on this trip, and now look what happened. You never know what happens.
It was through like Gear Sluts
side projects
or one of those things. I can't remember exactly.
That's from a book I was reading recently. It's like Austin Kleon or something. It's about, I don't know. I want to do a book review of that because that's an interesting book, and it's changed the way I think about things. Because at first I thought it was stupid, and then I realized, no, this book, there's some truth to this.
Google that thing, Total Sonic Annihilation. Put Total Sonic.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the one that I had built.
Or
Total Sonic
Annihilation schematic. There you go.
See, I want to get like a full-on.
If you go back to the image search, it's one of those top ones.
I want to get my live stream set up really legit, where it's like if we're searching for something, they can see what we're looking at. Like, there's a way to do it all, but I just wonder about my internet connection. Oh wait, I think this is very similar to what I built too. It was.
Well, that one has no pot to control the blend.
Yeah, I think this was. Yeah, it's very similar to this cafe. If I find the actual one I used, I'll definitely send it to you. But
click this one.
That other one. DIY shoegazer.
Same basic idea, and that one has the feedback pot in it. But yeah.
Yeah. So how do we show them the? Is this the? How do we link?
Go here, share, copy link.
Link copied.
Yeah, and you should be able.
And what is that? That'll drop the search to them.
You should be able to just right-click paste into the chat.
Why don't you put up a room mic for voice through your TascFamp and music cuts into your interface to tune away? Yeah, that's something I've been wanting to get set up easy. We've been talking about doing something like that. It's just, I don't know. For a while, it was just going through the phone, and then, but there's a way, like Jay was saying, the way that
there's an interface I found that will let us put audio into the phone port too.
I mean, some of it's just monetary too. It's like, I don't know, but yeah, there's a way to do it. Like
that interface cable is actually pretty cheap.
I thought you said there was like an interface, because I've looked up things where it's like here's this thing that'll stream and handle everything. It's only $1,000.
No.
Like I can't.
No, this is a thing that plugs into your iPhone, and it gives you a audio in, stereo audio out, and the charge all in one shot. So you can plug it in, charge it.
That would. Okay.
It's looking for mic level input. So I would need to adapt a DI, mono DI, to that mic input, and then we can feed it line level audio off whatever you want. Right. It'll be mono, but you can.
Yeah, I want to get that set up. That's a project for this year for sure.
I think I linked you to that actually. The one I
found
to
the interface. Yeah.
It's just it literally is this like weird fucking
cable or
like squiggly cable thing. Yeah,
it's like a squid or something. It's got a couple.
Yeah, 3 arms coming out. One of them charges.
So then one's line in. One's. What would you use the out for?
Monitor.
Oh, okay.
If you wanted to be able to hear like what's going out on the stream.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Easy. It's literally so easy to just hit record and go, and it seems like we're always last minute. I'm always last minute, like getting this set up. So, you know what? I'm gonna get something going with it. Now you've inspired me. Easy.
Behringer UCA 222. Is that a phone interface?
2 in 2 out.
But that's a USB box, isn't it?
Oh, okay. It's like a little.
Does that plug into the phone?
What is this, like an RCA?
It's a little micro interface.
Optical out.
Click on that. Yeah, so it's meant to plug into the computer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what do you think this would be a good solution?
Well, if you're using a laptop, it would be.
Right.
But you already have like UA interfaces you could be using with a laptop.
Right. Well, that's the whole other thing too. Is like it's just like really stupid laziness, and then also because if we hook it up to the UA stuff, the computer has to be over there. The way I have all my cables set up. I don't know. It's just like stupid laziness, and
You have to get like Soji panel changing screens to put behind us. So
yeah. That was the thing too. Like this side doesn't look that great, and then
I don't think it looks bad, but I know you're like self-conscious about it.
Well, it's like this is a good backdrop, you know.
Yeah,
I have all the lights set up. I usually keep all my lights like set up in here and have them set in places. I have like things marked. It's one of those things I just got accustomed to doing it a certain way, and it might not be the best way, but I guess it works.
It's the way that functions, and that's the way that you're
But
comfortable.
I would really like to up the game a bit. The other thing is like, I was using like a, because you used to have to. Well, you still do need one, but it's like a broadcaster. Mike Valdez was talking to me about it one stream. It's like an OBS. I forget what it is, what it does, but it basically sends the streams, encodes the stream signal to your streaming key,
right?
So that it goes out. But like, I don't know what it is over my computer, but it's like either too slow or it gets like so effing hot or something. It's like the computer just sounds like it's gonna explode because it's like trying to stream it. I don't know. So it's like it's kind of a hardware issue / laziness issue / I would like to up the game, but
yeah, well,
as long as the audio is decent, I don't know. But yeah, I do wonder. I would like to have just like a total. Basically, do have a little studio, but like I basically would like to have like a film studio. Like I'd love to have just like a little room that's like boom, everything's set up. We go in and have all the interface. Maybe it's just a matter of making a couple changes.
You might even be able to rent that studio out to local entrepreneurs who want to put casting couch auditions on in there. It's already set up for film.
Yeah. Oh, I see where you're going. Don't Google BBC images or whatever.
Fake agent New Paltz.
Well, I'd really like to make like a creator studio or something where people can come and do what they want to do and have even the 4-tracks that have that set up. Like that's the ultimate. That's my ultimate goal. You know, whether I look at this in like 5 years and that's what's happening or not. But I'd really like that's my end game. I guess I'll just put it out there.
Yeah.
I really want to make my own creator studio that is open to artists and people that need a space to do stuff. Because as somebody who is always searching for a place to do things.
Cat face, is that what the CMBBC stands for? Couch? No, it's not. Nope. That would refer to a male rooster. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that. What about that question? Not exactly sure how tape loops work. See, this is like is literally like it's just like feeding back into itself.
No, yeah, what Catface is talking about is literally like the lo-fi loop junkie or something like that. Lets you record overlaying loops. There's a bunch of delays.
There's a bunch of stuff. There's like an EHX one like
the
that.
The flashback delay will let you do that. There's a bunch. Even like the old Digitakt silver delay pedal had sort of a rudimentary version of that in it that didn't sound terrible. But yeah, that's not what you're going to get out of that big black couch. Yep.
That's it.
Yep. That's the one.
That's what we're going to be calling the Maker Studio.
Big black couch. BBC New Paltz. Oh man.
Man,
we're going down a rabbit hole.
It's too early. We still got. If we go down that road, I don't know if there's any coming back from it. Yeah, I gotta. I gotta figure out a solution easy. You know, I thought I had a solution tonight with my live stream camera, but then YouTube decided that it wasn't going to play nice with that. I don't know why. It said like webcam streaming is not available tonight. I don't know. YouTube's got some funky shit going on, as we know Julian was saying, and also just with monetization stuff. Like, I don't know. There seems to be a lot of moving pieces going on, and I don't know. I can't figure out what up, you know. But yeah, I will research a solution easy. I've definitely been wanting to do something better in terms of the quality, but it's also the thing where it's like, I think you're really the first person to really bring it up. So it's like, you know, if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
I mean, we've discussed it on and off before, and it's
It's
sort
like,
of,
I guess it's the thing that's just kind of settled into like, okay, this works. Like,
well, we've settled into what functions in either location that we
that's true
generally are
too.
streaming
With
from,
both
I think.
locations, it's like,
I mean,
you
until I have Wi-Fi in the studio and we get that shit straightened out, it, you know, doesn't, I don't think, matter as much.
but you know what? I think I'm gonna try to do some tests up coming up about that, and just go live, and like I did in the beginning, go live a bunch of times in a row and see if I can figure out how to get the sound best it could be, and go from there. I guess I could go live and make it unlisted too, so like nobody can see it. But so then if it was just like a test and it failed miserably, it wouldn't be a big deal. That's the thing. It's like it doesn't matter, you know. It's like
I'm all about broadcasting my failures, so.
yeah, but I mean, like that's what I feel like that's what the internet's all about. Like show your work, you know. Like,
Oh, the TC Ditto. You know, my bass player actually is selling one of those. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of loopers on the market. I had an RC2 and an RC3 that came my way in like a package deal at one point. Cool pedals too. I was using them to loop over, but honestly, cafes, if you're just doing stuff at home, why not use like a DAW to loop stuff? Like it's like very useful. It's I think one of the best features of DAW recording is doing like a couple bar loops and just jamming over it. But yeah, if you need it for live, that's a different story.
There's a whole like, I don't know if the subculture.
Gotcha, easy.
I'm not sure if the subculture exists across the pond yet, or what. But here, there's like this whole sort of bubbling thing where we have all these acoustic guys who go out and like guys and gals, people who go out and record or play shows with a whole bunch of loopers and effects and shit. Like you play your acoustic guitar and you lay down like a rhythm track. And it's like this whole thing. It's cheesy as fuck, but it's like really is like growing in popularity for some reason.
Oh yeah, there's like
I like the looper when it comes to like guitar players and bands where you like make some crazy noise or something and it, you know, like sort of shoegazy.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to.
It's got its use in up tempo music.
I think like the guy that does the demos for the EHX stuff, Reggie Watts, right? Have you seen those?
Yeah.
Like does like the EHX 95,000, I think the 45,000.
Yeah.
Like, that guy's incredible. Like it's the kind of stuff he's doing with that.
But there's guys.
That's a whole other skill set. That's like I don't. Like,
there's a lot of people around here that like they do it just because it's like, you know, it's shtick. You know, it's like a fucking comedy routine. They go out and tap dance on this thing and they write a bunch of like whack fucking songs and. You know, I don't know.
What do you like? What like whack? Like, what do you mean?
It's just like it's not interesting.
Oh, okay.
It's like boring, fucking like the same music
you've
been listening to.
There's there's a limitation to that looper style music, you know.
Well, I mean,
and it's either like you can work within that limitation and make it interesting.
I guess what I should say is these people do things that are what I would consider to be fairly unimaginative. Let's put it that way.
Okay. What's like an example, like a quick chord loop and then like jamming over it, or
but you jam over like, you know, you put down a riff, you loop that, and then you put down some like bullshit stuff and you save that in the loop, and then you put some more bullshit in it, and it's just like it ends up just being this like pile of cheesy acoustic lead work over the same 6 chords that everybody's writing songs around again. You know, it's like you make whole records out of this that, you know, it's, I don't know.
What do you think?
Boring.
So you're saying like the best thing to use?
I think the best thing
what would be like an ideal world for you if like you used a looper? What would you use it for?
I wouldn't use a looper. If I needed a looper, I'd have a second guitar player.
Right. Yeah. I feel like that's the point we're getting at.
Kind of like organics, but you know, But to be fair,
the point is like there's a limitation to using that. I feel like in a live band setting, you know how hard it would be to say you were a power trio like Surmiser. Mm-hmm. If you were going to try to loop something and make sure, like, you guys would either have to be playing to a click.
It'd be fucking impossible.
And you would also have to be like doing this fancy footwork to make sure that.
That's actually not as bad as you think it is, though.
I don't know, man. I've seen some train wreck shit.
I have too. But I recently fixed this. I think it was a Pigtronics. So it had like a delay modulation thing on one side, and then it had a looper on the other side. And I hadn't played with a looper in a long time. That thing had some cool features, but it was very degenerative. So you like put down a riff, but the more shit you stacked on top, the worse that first riff sounded, and the quieter it got in the mix.
That was the feature or the bug?
It's just the way it worked. I'm not sure.
It's not a bug; it's a feature.
I guess Pigtronics rushed these things to like production, and then afterwards they
like the Philosopher's Stone or some shit. Like
I don't know. I forget what it's called.
It's a Harry Potter.
It's a pretty good sized box like this, and it has a shit ton of knobs and buttons and stuff on it. But
see, that's the thing with all those things. Like, just make I just can't do it in my head.
My point was that like that thing actually was very easy to engage and disengage and to program and set up, and recording the loops was easy. Okay. You know, like the old stuff, playing with loops, I always had a problem just fucking around with it, like getting the start and stop right.
Sure.
If you didn't key it right, if you don't key it right, you end up like
picture like a live situation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You could really bungle something big time if you don't hit that right.
But
because I had those RC2, RC3, the Boss ones.
Yeah.
Even those, it was like I was practicing on them for days, and you know, one thing I used to do was play drums to them. You know, I'd record a riff and then go sit down at the kit and jam out to it.
I do think that the loop pedals are,
and it was hard.
I think the loop pedals are really cool for like ambient shoegazy kind of shit though. Like I could totally see like a modern day like Kevin Shields like fucking going out and doing like some crazy ass like shoegaze set, just ripping nothing but loops.
Well, I think because that music lends itself more to doing that kind of experimentation, whereas like if you're just writing in like a rock structure or like power trio pop structure, like I don't know, I feel like there's a lot more possibilities if you're writing.
I
like
agree, easy
type stuff.
I agree. Fucking yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was doing with the Digitakt.
Pigtronics was the Infinity Looper like it was kind of like a gray colored box.
Oh yeah, Matt got the 95K. That's cool.
Yeah,
he's gassing after that. I remember.
You know, also if you guys are looking for Electro Harmonics pedals, you should send me an email because I'm a dealer for them. We might be able to work you out something.
Yeah, Jay's
or if you need accessories,
he's got the good stuff over there.
Yeah,
well, that's right. That's where I got my bloodletting video, getting rid of all my shit.
Yeah. What the hell did I get you? The mole?
Mole. Yeah, I actually sold the mole. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice one.
But that was the thing, man. It's like one of those things. It was like an impulse buy, and I was like, I kind of want one of those again. And I just have too many cool toys. I'm like James Earl Jones at the end of Sandlot. You know, it's like I just have too much cool shit already. Got to let some stuff go. No disrespect to all the wankers out there. That's what I've been. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Nels Klein, man. I'm like baffled and super in awe of what that man does. That's the guy from Wilco, and he does like jazz, his own like jazz trio or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think that like I don't know. It doesn't matter what the fuck I think. If you like looping, loop.
Yeah.
That's totally it. That Electro Harmonics looper is pretty cool if that's what you're looking for. That Ditto thing is neat. That's the one that Tom has.
The Ditto?
Yeah, he's selling that shit.
Well, I mean, if somebody wants it.
Yeah, I can put him in touch.
The 45,000. Matt, did you ever have the EHX 45,000?
Also, did I tell you that he's a dealer for Death by Audio now?
Tom?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
He's like running a little side hustle, or?
It's just like he wanted the pedals, so he set up a dealer account and he gets them for less money than retail, and he can get you the same thing for less money than retail.
Awesome.
It's kind of like what I do with the EHX stuff.
Right.
I sell it to you basically at cost, whatever it costs me, tax and shipping to get it here, how much it costs you. Yeah.
Yeah. See, this thing interests me.
That thing's fucking tight.
The EHX 45,000. I'll bump a link.
$478. That is.
Yeah, that's
Jesus.
Well, this is. Remember, when we were looking into the.
Yeah, let me see what the dealer price is.
We were looking into getting one of these, or trying one out, or trying to get your guy to send us one to just like do a video on or something.
I still think I can probably get him to do that.
Yeah.
I just have to like play the right angle with him.
Let's see here. I'm just trying to get this link in the chat.
Let me go here and see.
But so one thing that interests me about this 45,000 pedal, once I get it in there, is that it kind of looks like, to me,
wow.
Well, I think it is basically a digital 4-track. I mean, obviously there are digital 4-tracks, and TascFamp has some offerings, but let me know if this link works. Oh, I don't think that's going to work. I don't know if that'll work, but oh yeah, okay, that works. Yeah, so that pedal I think was the 45,000 is interesting because I was looking into getting one of those. I want Jay to try to get us one, It kind of looks like you could use it in like a multi-track looping recorder. But I was looking at the specs for how much you can record on it, and it comes with a little SD card, or you can use an SD card. Kind of seems like a digital 4-track to me. You could do some cool. If you didn't have a TascFamp, or you didn't want to get a TascFamp, or this you just came across, it looks to me like this is like a modern day 4-track. I mean, I don't know. That kind of feels like you could make your own arrangements on this and use it just as you would use a 424, without the tape. I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but it looks to me like that's why I was curious to getting my hands on it. We're trying to get one so that we could try that out.
What's weird is that, like, to even get a price on those anymore, they just changed the site around. It used to be I could go to New Sensor and do it.
Yeah.
Now I have to go through shop.ehx.com.
Weird. So
and now through the EHX website, I basically can't get pedal prices off the internet. I gotta call my guy now, I guess.
Weird.
That fucking sucks.
You have to like make another account or something?
No, I already did that. The account transfers over, but I don't know why it's the way it is. It's very weird.
Oh man, the 90. Okay, so I'm looking at the 95,000 right now. Okay, so it's like a 6-track. Yeah, same kind of deal, man. I guess these are looping pedals, but yeah, when I was looking into getting my Digitakt, I was looking into getting that 45,000 because I was thinking maybe I could do something similar. I'm really glad I got the Digitakt because I've been looking for a drum machine for a long time. Oh yeah, so I wanted to open this really quickly. Let's just see if we have any bookend comments. So we got tone print pedals. I've never used those, but they looked interesting. Those are where you can like kind of make your own effect, right? Or program your own effect on the computer, and then I think you use like a little SD card or something to just let me know if I'm paraphrasing correctly to make your own sound. I think I only want the looper for one song, so maybe it's better to arrange it somehow. But I'd be more track efficient on a 4-track. Yeah, that's the thing with like certain pedals too, and that's why I've been getting rid of a lot of mine is because they're one-trick ponies. It's like I have some really cool pedals that do some cool stuff, but oh, Capro. Capro's coming through. I don't know if he's going to come up and hang with us.
Oh, now I can get back into the New Sensor site again. It's very weird.
Weird.
What was that again? The
EHX 45,000, yeah. But yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. That's why I've been really hesitant to get more pedals and also just been letting loose a lot. I have like a delay, very simple delay, very simple chorus.
So the dealer price on that's about $365 pre-tax.
Dang, all right.
So save almost $100 on that.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Plus tax. That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like in a position now where I just can't.
You know what I keep looking at? Like I'm looking at channel strips again. I think I really want to build like an analog summing bus out of like some group channels out of something. Oh, easy. I did the research on that Harrison 32C setup too. It actually looks pretty tight. I'm kind of confused about the way that their plugins are set up and the fact that it only gives you 12 whatever groups. It kind of seems to me that you have to like bring stems in from someplace else to use that thing the way that they're intending you to use it. But
got him. I don't know how long
the audio
stick
clips
around
and stuff
for.
I checked out on that were definitely really good.
It's going for the coffee.
Cool sound. Oh, cat butt in my face.
Come on, man.
No, he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, so I got a P.O. box mail I've been holding on to. I've been wanting to open. I think it's from Greg from Pittsburgh. Well, I know it's from Greg from Pittsburgh, but I'm going to open it because I've been saving these for the channel because it's almost like a new. That's something I want to do too.
I'll let you do that.
Okay, cool. We'll see Jay in a minute. He's got to step out. Yeah, so this is this is really nice. I think they did the tape, and then I think that Greg made the art like at a print shop. But Astrology Now, pretty cool stuff. He said he'd been working on this for a couple of years, and I think he just came across the channel. We've been chatting a bit on email, and I said, "Yeah, man, send me a tape if you got extra one lying around." So check these guys out. Astrology Now. They're out of Pittsburgh. Kind of reminds me of like Tame Impala sort of stuff. I hope that's like in the realm. That's, I mean, my limited knowledge of music, I would say that's where I think it's kind of coming from a little bit. But very cool, very jammy rock, I think. If that makes sense. I don't know. I don't want to like butcher Greg's idea, but yeah, check this tape out. It's pretty dope. That's nice, man. Very cool. So thank you, Greg. I don't know if you're out there tonight, but thank you for sending this. I'm gonna blast this. Maybe we'll blast it into Jay's truck. This is from Greg from Pittsburgh.
Oh, nice.
He's been sending me some emails back and forth.
Cool.
Astrology Now. It's kind of like Tame Impala kind of stuff.
Awesome.
I don't know. Is Tame Impala like jam? It's not like, I don't want to say like jam band, but like.
No, Tame Impala's more like driving fucking rocky
like
shit.
Like krautrock almost.
No. Once we get off the stream, we can go and listen to some.
Yeah, I feel like I'm right. Yeah, I feel like I'm butchering it, Greg. I'm sorry, but check them out. Astrology Now. AstrologyNow.bandcamp, I think. But Greg, thank you so much for sending this in, my man. We're gonna check this out. Very cool. So, PO Box 151. If you got anything you think we should check out,
yeah,
we'll definitely open it on the stream. And Matt sent us the 4-track. We got to get that operational up and running.
Yeah.
That's something I want to use in the Maker Studio if that ever goes down.
I've been thinking about selling my other 414.
I don't know if they cover Age of Aquarius. I've been keeping an eye out for those Cadbury Fudge and biscuit things, but I haven't seen it. I think they... Oh, okay. Gotcha, Cafes. I wasn't sure. I didn't know that those were seasonal.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's amazing. I can't wait. You could name your summing bus the Double Decker.
Yeah.
Cafe said.
Well, I want to do an analog summing thing, but not like with a bunch of resistors, not like a passive bus with just like line amps on the end of it. I actually want to like pull together a small sidecar out of a bunch of group channels and then run it out to something. But
thanks, Cafes.
I have a Ramsa master channel. I'm looking for a couple more to go with it. I kind of want some of that like bleach vibe on the outputs of my mixes. So I already have one. It's a stereo group master. But
yeah,
I need to find like
seen that.
It's at my house.
It's like a mixing board?
No, this is just like one strip. You know. No, the one you're thinking of is the Altec that's in the closet.
Oh, okay.
Altec 1220.
Yo, I gotta go grab something. I don't know if we showed it off last stream or not. Brian was here.
So yeah, that's the thought. What do you? I feel like Easy probably is pretty well versed in that whole analog summing thing. So I'd like to hear what your experiences are sort of like with that. Are you running out to the console from digital and doing analog mixes out there, or do you just use the Harrison mix bus and take the 2-bus stereo out as your monitor and print from that? Scott.
I was going to just show off the.
Yeah.
I should really tell Brian about it, but this is so interesting story. We were messing around with this at the cabin, Capro's cabin. Brian brought it. He gave it to me that weekend.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't think you said there was something wrong inside of it, right? Like,
yeah, there was
because they were trying to get it to use. I don't know. Was it working at all? Because it seemed like
the only thing I could get it to do was light up when I put it into battery check mode. There was no voltage coming in either through the battery or through the DC jack. So I replaced a couple diodes and I wired the switch differently. Cut traces on the PC board, and then it's got a toggle switch that slows it down.
Yeah, it's dope, man. So and it's got this awesome. It's like this piercing.
Ultraviolet,
yeah,
right? Is that what I put in there?
It's like a.
You got a power supply there?
I have one right in my closet. The one that you gave me.
They know what a purple.
Yeah. We'll have to do. So I'm gonna do a video on this too. I've been wanting to like.
Yeah.
Because this thing is pretty cool. So, what I don't know history of this particular unit. Brian had it. His dad got it from this guy, a friend whose estate passed away. He left him all his gear and he gave this to Brian because he thought Brian could use it for Yellow Rainbow.
Yeah.
Brian had it in his trunk and we were unloading some stuff at the cabin. I said, "What is that?" He said,
"Yours."
Yep.
He said,
He said you can get it. You know, maybe you can figure out how to use it. So yeah. So we just I got it from those guys, and then I gave it to Jay. Jay fixed it up, hooked it up, put the cool toggle switch on there, black light, and fixed everything up. So thank you so much, Jay. But if you come across any of these things, it's dope.
When you find those, they're usually either
Circuit
the bids
bent,
are
right?
really high on them, or they're already circuit bent. They're super popular with the circuit bent crowd because you can make them self-oscillate. You can bend the shit out of them. But it also is a very interesting kind of slap delay thing, and it also does distortion like crazy if you really drive the input because it clips the bucket brigade chip. So then you get dirty delay too.
Well, that's something that's interesting about that too. Is like that was one of the first things I noticed because I tend to over blast the input. So like the distortion or I was like, damn, this thing sounds pretty cool.
First thing I do when I get a new pedals, turn it all the way the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because I want to know how bad and extreme it can get before I decide if I'm moving in.
Yeah. So that's a really cool little
stem out to console. Yeah, that I kind of had that feeling. Yeah.
But if you guys ever see those little realistic, I guess I just thought of it because of the Ramza thing you brought up. You see anything? Because this was meant for plugging into like a mixer, right? For like.
Yeah, it was meant to be part of like the Radio Shack realistic PA. You'd pair that with like their cheapy. There was a mixer the same size as it basically. So you plug into that, you plug the output of that into the mixer, then you plug the mixer into the power amp, like the MP, it was an MP20A or an MPA 20 or something. It was 20 watts aside. This like $200 shitty power amp that went with the two-way 10-inch realistic Radio Shack PA cabinets is a whole fucking debacle.
I just think it's super interesting that you like. Oh, that's one on eBay for $180.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. I'm telling you.
I think it's super interesting that like something that wasn't meant. That's like I feel like that's what the channel's about, man. Like stuff that's not meant to be used in a certain way.
Well,
you find these new realms and ways.
I'm not kidding about that realistic reverb thing though. The wood grain one that I showed on the stream that time, the small one.
Yeah.
Like, you guys, if you're curious about what these things do, you should check that one out too. I used it on that mix for Jeb, the last mix I did.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That shit is pretty tight. It's very spacey, and if you're not careful, it'll fuck your stereo image all up, but it sounds cool as hell. You just have to be careful with how you use it. You can drive the shit out of the front end of it, too. It'll distort like hell. It's got a mic input just like the one you got.
But very... What? Buttery? I can't...
Buttery top.
Oh, buttery top, yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, I feel like when I run things out through analog gear, even if the analog gear is like bypassed, I'm getting a whole different, print back, and I've always felt that way. So I'm trying to get the studio set up to just use a small console to mix stems at the end. But that's why I'm thinking about getting a bunch of, like group master strips and putting together a master section on the tail end of them, because I think I can do the same thing and just use like the stuff in the box and the, the output sends from the interface to do my passive summing, if you will, and then blast that onto the groups and, affect the groups and then run that out to the masters. That TascFamp board, that TAC 5A that I redid.
Yeah, I want that thing.
It's got 4 groups, 8 mic line mono inputs, but it's got 4 groups that have direct ins and insert ins. And I built a new master section for that around discrete op amps too. So really, you get some like warm, almost API kind of character out of that. So I'm looking to really like throw that thing into production or to function this year. Yeah, that's easy. That's what I did. I upgraded the op amps on the input channels.
Yeah, I call Op Amos as my new band
Op
name.
Amos, there you go. Tori Op Amos.
It's mine. Tori Op Amos.
So I put faster chips on the head amp section, and I put more robust chips on the output sections because they drive direct outs as well as famous Amos cookies. They drive direct outs as well as the passive, summing buses to the group stuff. So, and the board, even though it's a little bit like, It's a little bit dark still. It's a little murky maybe. It still sounds 100 times better than the stock summing that happens inside the interface. So I just need somebody to send me a whole bunch of like 16 pair cable and ends for free so that I can hook the fucking thing up. So that's what I should be selling that amp and buying is a bunch of 16 pair and making whips.
There you go, man.
I totally just want to put that on a rolling cart though, so when I'm not using it, I can unpatch it and put it out like in the entryway if I don't need it.
Yeah,
because I don't really want it for the mic pre's. I mean, the pre's are all right, but it's got inductor EQ and the whole bit, so it for mixes I think would sound fucking cool. And we did some of the Surmiser tracks through that board actually. It's a good sound. But
Emos and Op Andy.
Yeah. Good old TascFamp M600. Huh. Yeah, you know, the TascFamp, the Digitakt stuff, it gets a bad rap, I think, because it's like prosumer, you know, whatever.
I like it.
And a lot of people compare it to, you know, like the Yamaha shit and the whole bullshit Japanese thing. Like, it's all not that. But TascFamp did their homework when it came to the way that the gain stages are set up and the way that chips are implemented. They really did you a lot of favors as far as how you can work within that circuit and the things you can do to it. And, you know, you put sockets in that thing and you could roll chips all day long until you found the combo that you liked that behaved the right way and, you know, change the whole character of the board. And you still, like I said, get a very basic, but a pair of inductor EQs on each channel, which is, you know, it's fucking cool shit as far as I'm concerned. It'd be nice if it was Neve style where you had 7,000 steps and you can cut and boost anything you want. But, you know, I'll take 2 mid bands and a high-low shelf. That's cool.
It's the right ones, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not really the right ones, but it'd be easy enough to change the caps and make them that way.
Well, that's what I mean. Cool. Like, if it's the right steps for you that you want.
Yeah.
Like, why would you want 7,000 if you get the right ones that you want to use?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Water from the studio. Yeah, you know, and I think a lot of that stuff either gets poo-pooed on, or it gets torn up by people trying to learn and then thrown away.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like these things, right?
Yeah. They get, and a lot of pedals too. They die an untimely death from people trying to learn.
Oh yeah. I've picked up a few in batch sales or things like that, and it's
easy. I agree.
People still buy them.
I agree with that too. You know.
Yeah, it's totally.
Like coming from the live sound world, when I started running into like digital boards and shit where everything was like soft faders and fucking soft keys and like menus and shit, it really took the piss right out of it for me. So yeah, I'd much rather have physical faders and knobs and things. But that's what I'm thinking with like the sidecar idea too, if I could do a summing bus and not have to involve a whole console. Because that Digitakt 5, even though it's only 8 channels and 4 buses, it weighs like fucking 55 pounds. It's big. So,
wow, look at this micro looper.
It's cool.
They got the little tape on there.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. He says you can stop, record, delete, play.
Oh, more? Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, more. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my friend Dave actually is a dealer for them. Not mistaken. I got friends who deal all sorts of shit.
What was that old blue mixer someone on the forum had, like Neptune? Oh that's
yeah,
right.
Neptune.
Yeah, that was cool.
Kind of looked like some weird Orban shit.
Yeah. I was wicked jealous.
Yeah. But you know, I feel easy to finish that point. I feel like because like we work in the box so much that like the new generation is super compliant with the digital stuff, the point and click, the menus and all that, and they don't even know anything about like the faders and knobs. Yeah. So when you give them something with faders and knobs, it like rocks their fucking world. Whereas like those of us who sort of, you know, and I don't pretend to be like this veteran about it or whatever, but those of us who have worked with, you know, old boards where you actually touched, you know, the effect, you touched the audio, basically your fingerprint was all over that. Well, thing. You know, that's lost, I think, on the younger set that are coming up through it. But more is a cheap brand that works pretty good.
I was reading this article that ties into this. Said that, you know, as humans, like we crave tactile experiences.
Absolutely.
So there's all these studies coming out about touch screens and how that's like people are just like uninterested in it because you crave like a physical.
But it's also about instant gratification. So if you're working on an analog board and let's say you're trying to sweep out like the high mid back or something in a, I don't know, maybe it's a vocal, maybe you're working on drums, I don't know what it is, but you know, toggling through 74 menus and then dragging your finger across the screen to sweep that out really is like, I don't know, it kind of like I said, takes the piss out of the experience. Whereas if you like boost that frequency and you sweep it physically, you can hear it like ring across the PA and you can pull it right out. And there's this whole like I said, gratification thing of like, whoa, there it is, and bang. You know.
Right. Oh yeah. I just meant like the physical experience without like any of the actual sound, like in any sort of area or industry, like there's this almost revolt of all these apps and programs that people are using and touchscreens because I don't know, there's just something the way that your brain and your hands, I mean, humans evolved to use our hands as the tools.
That's also why things like the Presonus fader port have sold so well. Because it gives you physical knobs and faders and stuff. Even though it's still digital, it's giving you something that you can actually touch. It's a real thing. It's not a point-click drag situation.
It's like human nature, you know? It's like, I can't find this article. I wish I could. It was great. I forget where it's like on maybe Scientific American or something. I don't know. But it was super interesting.
When you're exposed to like a new thing, like what's the first thing you try to do? You try to touch it.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody does that.
So what happens when you can't actually touch what you know what I mean? Like
you become like
there's like this weird
it's almost like losing part of a sense, I feel like.
Right. That's, well, I was just skimming through some of the articles, like tactile keyboards are making a comeback. Like
noisy
clickety clackety motherfuckers, because people crave that sound, that feeling, like the actual pushing down on these levers, you know.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, cat face. Like sitting at the mixing, I always felt like as like the front of house guy, you know, I was trying to be like the extra member of the band. Like I'm running effects up and down. I'm trying to chase vocals. I'm riding faders. I'm playing that fucking thing like an instrument. Whereas like if I'm doing a mix, you know, on a digital platform or like, you know, one of the Yamaha digital boards or something, like it's not as easy as that. So you set and forget, and you might ride something here or there, but usually it's, you know, it's not as easily interactive, not as fun. And easy, definitely, like I've met so many people who are, you know, like they don't even know how to set stupid shit in plugins. Like you don't know how to compress a fucking snare drum. You go to the preset menu and you click the one that says snare drum 1, and like that's your snare sound on everything. Who the fuck does that?
I mean, I don't want to name any names too.
Jesus.
But, that's something similar like that happened to me around here with the master that I got back. It was so evident that this person just threw their mastering chain.
I know a lot of engineers.
It sounded like it was like the guy didn't even fucking listen to it.
I know a lot of engineers here that do that. And if they're not doing
somebody who's like has some clout or whatever, you know, it's like I don't know if they're just gotten lazy or they didn't give a fuck. They didn't even listen to it. But it was so clearly like it was like unlistenable how brutal it sounded.
Well, you know, but there's that whole thing with the younger engineers too, where they're not worried about getting sounds because they're using like sample overlays and you know, replacement and all this shit. Like, you know what? Like, fuck replacement, fuck preset everything. Figure out how to get sounds. Figure out how to manipulate those sounds once you have them, and then worry about shit like replacement. If you want to blend a snare sample to try to like fatten up
as like an effect.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I grew up with a guy who just did an EP with another engineer around here, much to my chagrin. And I listened to it, and like, there's 5 or 6 songs on the EP, and you know, it's like every fucking snare hit on the entire EP is the same velocity. It's the same hit.
Yeah.
Every kick beat on the whole CD is the same velocity. Like, okay. Like I struggle to find the organic vibe even in what they used for overheads. You know, even the cymbals sound falsely metallic. So I'm like, you know, they have a drummer. I know they do. He's the one who writes all songs. So, you know, and before this band went to the studio,
chase like this mythical sound they hear in their head.
The funny part,
there's something that's not polished enough. When you go and have somebody record in like an analog realm, they hear themselves on drums. They're like, doesn't sound like how I want it to sound.
I've never had that problem. I've never had that problem.
Well, with your own stuff, or
no, with clients.
Oh, well, then I guess people should come and record with you then.
Well, you know,
it must be the exception to the rule, because I can't tell you how many people I've met and they dish recordings, throw recordings on the shelf because it doesn't sound professional enough, or it doesn't sound polished enough. It doesn't sound like how I hear it in my head.
The only client I've ever had that was problematic like that is a perfectionist, and the thing that he didn't like about the recordings were his own performances. The tones were not the problem; the performances were the problem. But when I track bands, I tend to, like, what you're listening to is a composite in the box premix of what I'm listening to. I don't roll tracks until I have at least like a gentle picture of what the EQ is going to be like for the, you know, for the start of the mix. I want to know that it's sounding right, and then I can make it sound right.
Well, that's
before I'm printing.
And that's I want to make sure I have it sounding as close to what I want it to sound like before I even fucking press record.
But here's the thing: like when I have been in studio situations, when I'm not the engineer and I've been in studio situations, like sometimes what you're listening to in the headphones might as well be an AM radio version of a mono room mic. You know, it's like the click track and the AM radio version of a mono room mic. Everything's and you can't hear shit. There's no articulation. There's no separation. So what I aspire to is a good headphone mix for everybody, because that is really fundamental to me. And that's why people don't bitch about drum tracks later, because they know what that track sounded like before they even put it down. Before they ever put that thing down, they were already listening to it. You know? Yeah. So whatever I was doing on the front end, whatever plug-in touches I was doing in the mix, that was already there before we printed anything. It'll get more sculpting later. It'll get touched up and piped back out and whatever. But
sure, yeah, like 90% of the sound or 80% of the sound is there.
Yeah,
yo, nice, sick Millennium Falcon reference cafes, by the way.
But yeah, I mean, it's. I've had a lot of drummers, especially, come in and track with me, and they're like, you know, man, it's the best headphones I fucking ever had. Yeah. Like, you know, that's because I've been that guy where, like, you can't hear shit. I don't want that to be anybody. Like, if there's a reason that, like, you can't hear your instrument in the headphones, you need to let me know that you're having a problem so I can fix that, because I want you to be able to hear everybody's everything while it's going down.
Well, that's
And that's, you know, it's just like playing a show.
Awesome, man.
But it's just like playing a show. Like, if you have shitty monitors at a show, your performance will suffer, right?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that way.
Right. You can't hear yourself singing.
It shouldn't be that way. Yeah,
and right on the cheddar.
And you know how you get that headphone mix too is like, you know, I use like a Behringer like Power Play headphone amp. It's nothing fancy, but it has auxiliary inputs on the front, so I can make you know, auxes and buses and shit in the box, pipe that out, and I can give you a blend, or I can give you a custom mix right out of the box, however you want it. You can listen to what I'm listening to, whatever you need. But you know, that to me is really super, super important. And there's really no excuse in any studio situation, high budget or not, why you shouldn't be able to provide at least a workable, you know, whatever, a workable headphone mix.
John sounds like he's getting frustrated.
I don't know, John. Like the stuff you're kicking out though is fucking
we were talking about
badass.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to shit on drum samples or plugins. I'm just saying that, like,
I gotta say, drum sample stuff's getting better though. It's gotten so much better in the past, even just 3 years, man. It's crazy. Like
my point is not to attack people who are writing songs based on that. My point is to attack these lazy young engineer producer people who take what could have been a good acoustic live played drum track and overlay it with samples because they don't know how to get drum sounds.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You know, and like if you're,
well, then you're just using it as like a.
It's a crutch. You're propping it up.
But it's like they're what is it called when you like you take the hit and then you use that? Triggers. They're using it as a trigger. Yeah.
Which is shit. We just like a good bitch session. Yeah.
That's probably what we should have named this one. We've gone all over the map tonight.
Well, awesome. What I'm saying is not even that if you have a drummer use him. It's really a stab at like the engineers who don't take the time to get good drum sounds and replace whatever is played by whoever or however with stock samples and use stock presets and plugins and don't try to tweak things. It's like, you know,
And everybody
You find
here's
one
like,
sound
we'll fix
and
it
use
in the
it.
mix. We'll fix it in the mix.
Yeah.
Like, just fucking run the other way.
Don't fucking fix it in the mix. Fix it in the mics.
There's
Like-
a great. I gotta find the meme of that. There's this great meme. It's not as much fun though. Bottom line, it just isn't rock and roll. It's not a performance. It's more like mosaic or sculpture, which is cool. But I like rock and roll.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you though, John, like that first mix I did for you, especially before you told me that was samples, I assumed that you had recorded each piece of that individually with the, you know, the tape effect that was on it and the way that it sounded. I assumed that was individual drums. So those samples I thought were fine. But, you know, it really, like I said, it's about the fundamentals of these guys who can't get a fucking good drum sound, can't figure out how to make the room work for them, and you know, it's just bullshit as far as I'm concerned. Like, if you don't know how to get the sounds or to work with the instruments, then you should probably, you know.
Batman and Robin.
Yeah. But if you don't know how to get drum sounds, you know, as an engineer, somebody who professes themselves to be an engineer, then, you know, you probably should do some studying before you start bringing in clientele, because you're not serving your clientele. Nobody is served by just banging drum samples.
Unless that's what they're expecting.
I mean, if that's what they're...
Unfortunately, I feel like there's people that say, okay, like, that's the way we're going to get the sound I want.
If that's what they're expecting, then poo-poo on them.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Because I think we got to look at it, too, as it comes down to the client, and it comes down to, like, some people want that, like, super polished, chintzy, like, drum sample sound. Like,
well, I'll tell you what, like, if that's the sound you're after, Biomosphere is not the place for you.
There you go, man.
You know.
For sure, dude.
I like to do things like hammer shit with, like, you know, stereo limiters and brick wall limiters and play around like that to hype stuff.
Me too, yeah.
But I'm hyping stuff that started out with a microphone. I don't care.
Yeah, right.
If it didn't start with a microphone, it's not in there, unless it's DI bass or something like that. Obviously.
Yeah,
but I don't like synthetics.
I've been using a lot of fucking RBI on stuff. It's great, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So you really don't need. Well, I don't know. I don't want to draw a line in the sand, but it's like you almost don't even need a bass amp anymore for. Well, that was something Chad Blake.
Mm-hmm.
An engineer. Yeah. Remember, because that was where I first heard about the Sans amp.
Mm-hmm.
Black Keys Brothers, I think they sent it to him to mix, and he used it on like almost every track, plug in, and also the unit, the regular unit. And I gotta say that like there's something to be said about that of the Sans amp, but also you know that's what I was saying. He said he hasn't liked a bass amp in 10, 12 years because he just uses like the RBI or the Sans amp or you know.
Yeah. But you know, like there's I don't know. I always feel like when there's air on an instrument, like a real amp, it's going to serve the dimensional perception of that mix. You know, you might be able to get things that are cool out of like the RBI going direct, and I love that sound too.
Sure, yeah.
But I would take that RBI track, I would
put it out back into
I would run it out into a power amp and into a cabinet. You know,
yeah,
it's because that's me. Like I like having the
different
room on it.
Folks, for sure.
But like those tracks
I
I did
that's
with
a
that.
super interesting like to say like, oh yeah, I haven't even used the bass. Like that's crazy. Like,
yeah. But the tracks that I just did with this guy that we were just playing there,
you know, it's super organic. So you can tell that's like
that's a 410 with the grill taken off of it with a D112 on a low speaker and a SM57 on a high speaker, basically as dead in phase as I could make it. And then I took a DI line off of a RBI, which is not even used in that track. That's all mics. But any of the other ones with bass distortion was using that, or the bass driver, the pedal.
Oh, cool.
You know, but that's one of my favorite bass sounds I've gotten in a long time. And obviously the mixes aren't done, so it's sort of just raw form. But I'll actually link you all to that. If you want to check that out, I'll send that over because it's you know. I mean, you could imagine what this would sound like if it was a DI bass. It would just be flat and plunky and kind of thuddy, I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe it'd be fucking awesome, but it's not my...
I think when you do it like that way too, you get closer to the sound. Well, if that's what the sound you're going for, you get closer to the sound you want faster. Like I think you could still tweak it, but then you're going to be going into like some plug-in diving and trying to
Well,
get
you
some
think about
reverb
that.
and shit on it.
Right, and
you could that's the whole point of like getting it right at the source.
yeah, but you know,
I mean,
when
like
you
here, like I just can't fucking blast the 410.
No,
you know?
certainly not, certainly not.
That's
but
my
you can
biggest
always
problem.
bring your bass tracks up to me
For sure,
blast
for
the 410 anytime you want.
Thanks,
But
man.
you know, the
I mean, that's why my fucking bass man is here.
yeah.
I have no use for that here because like I can't fucking crank that thing.
So I'm gonna paste the Dropbox link right now to that rough mix. It's just drums and bass, but you know, try to imagine what this track would be like if it was just a straight DI instead of running out the cabinet.
And probably,
You know?
and also like drum replacement, you know.
Yeah, this is a 4-piece drum kit with 2 large diaphragm overheads, close mics on everything. And most of the mix is the overheads.
And clearly, a big point to mention is like obviously this guy is a great performer. Obviously, he has his parts down really well.
Oh, he's been playing some of these songs both on drums and bass for a bunch of years.
Yeah. But I feel like that's like at the top of the pyramid. That's the number one thing you need is somebody who's capable of playing their stuff the way they want it to sound.
This is his second or third stab at recording some of these. He started them with a friend of his, and he hated the drum and bass sounds, and they abandoned them.
Wow.
So he's coming to me now with, you know, we're starting brand new, fresh tracks over, and he's like over the fucking moon about what we're getting so far. So, you know, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know.
Hell yeah. Here you go, Jay. Easy asks, how do you handle a bass amp that's not all the same size of speaker? Example, has a low, mid, and high speaker. Do you even bother to mic it up?
A high speaker? You mean like a tweeter?
Yeah, I think. I
never mic'd the tweeter. Like that cabinet that I'm using is a 410 HLF, I think. It's the Ampeg SVT 410, like the good one. Belongs to the bass player in my band.
Oh, yeah, that's a sick amp.
I don't.
It's a 2x10 too, right?
No, just the 410.
I saw 210 there.
So I don't ever mic the tweeter in that thing. I feel like if you get towards the voice coil in the center of the cone, you'll get as much of the high frequency information out of that bass as would be natural in a mix anyway. And then I use the D112 or something like that. You know, usually off either center of the cone on its way out, if you will, or, you know, closer to the edge, whatever, to get that low end information. And phase, I think, is the most important thing, more than, you know, mic in a high frequency driver or whatever. But
Matt has Jay, what up with that question? Gibson filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Jay, what up with that? When did that happen? That
was this past week, yeah.
Oh, I am I live in a cave basically.
Well, I'll tell you what's up with that. I think Gibson has been putting out shittier quality instruments over the last whole bunch of years.
I have an interesting point about this too.
They've been concentrating on places in the market where there's no market. You know, they're using marketing icons that not many people really give half a shit about anymore. You know, irrelevant, I guess, for the most part. And yeah, I think really it comes down to like the quality and like the offshore builds and how shitty most of that stuff has become. You know, anyway.
No, that's exactly the point I was gonna say is like you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like either you can make shittier guitars and sell them more cheaply, or you can make really premium guitars and sell them expensively. You can't make shitty guitars and sell them for an expensive price. Like you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to.
So easy. I mean, going back to that, what is your feeling on, I mean,
what up?
Would you be micing the tweeter? I mean, I've certainly tried it, but I'm curious what your approach would be. Like a distance mic to catch that extra high frequency stuff. I mean, I just feel like, you know, that would be something like frequency range in the bass that I'd be looking to like heavily modify or shelf off entirely anyway, just to make room for what the guitar is doing, where the body of the guitar is at.
Epiphone.
Yeah.
Epiphany. I'm assuming that's epic.
Yeah, I think so. Yo, Joe Bonamassa is going to buy Gibson. What the fuck's he gonna do with it? It's just gonna be the smiling face for his own company that nobody's buying from anymore. I don't know. I think really like shame on a lot of these big manufacturers for the quality control and moving the stuff so far offshore that like
and
they can't even quality control it anymore, and they don't give a shit. That's the worst part.
Yeah,
they fucking sell it to you for the same money.
There's a huge disconnect from the people sitting in the offices to the people selling the shit. I'm sure.
Yeah.
And they're just looking at a bottom line, a piece of paper that says, "Oh, well, if we outsource labor to this, we can make 20 times what we were making on the ones that are made here. So why don't we just do that and nobody will notice?"
Yeah.
But guess what? People fucking notice that you're turning out a shit product and charging the same price. So go fuck yourself, Gibson.
Easy.
I didn't know I was so passionate about this.
Easy. The crossover is adjustable in this cabinet, and we keep the horn off just because it adds the shrill, brittle, harshy shit. But I've actually done a lot of experiments with sort of what you're talking about, like 1 to 3 feet back from the cab with like a large diaphragm condenser and like the D112 or something up close. And I like that sound. I just, for a project like what I'm working on with this guy, it's sort of like, you know, it needs to be grittier and bitier and more in your face with less room, I think. But, you know, I'm happy with the rough set of it anyway. And I think the final mix will tighten up pretty nice.
Yo, I think I agree, John. Squire doesn't. I mean, that I knew that like
the J Mascis Jazzmaster, either Squire or Fender, were both fucking badass. I would love to have the Fender one though.
Yeah,
the gold fucking metal plate. That thing is dope as shit.
Yeah, it's like, but that's a great example. It's like I knew that the guitar stuff was changing too when you started hearing about people buying the cheapest like Fender or Squire guitar, $150 guitar, and swapping out you know, pickups, swapping out electronics, swapping out whatever, and you know, for the $500 or whatever, you have what's basically like a $2,500 guitar or something.
Yeah.
So like I knew that's when shit was going down and they were in trouble. And honestly, like I have the guitar I have is really cheap. I think it was like made in Korea. It's I forget the name of it, but the Court. And I gotta say, man, it's a great guitar. It was $100. It sounded better than all these other guitars I tried out to me. And I was looking at guitars that were all the way up to like $1,000, $1,500, and not that I was going to spend that much, but I tried it out against those. And build quality's, I don't know, for $100. Man.
You know that bass that everybody always uses in my studio with the big muff sticker on it?
The one that I use in the Budweiser thing? Yeah.
Like, people love that fucking bass. That's $100 instrument.
Yeah.
That I put a guitar humbucker in just for the fuck of it.
Right.
Like, it's neck heavy as hell. But it ends up on like 2/3 of the shit that gets tracked up there. Because it plays all right.
Yeah.
It sounds consistent.
Yeah.
The intonation is good.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I don't know too much about guitar building, but it's like clearly, I guess I don't know. Is it that hard to make a decent guitar?
Well, you know the thing about, not that I'm like a hands-on builder, but I know a bunch of guys that do it, and you know the most critical thing about building a guitar,
like wood selection or something.
Not even the most critical thing about building a guitar is getting the the scale right. You know?
Yeah, right.
Like if the scale nut to saddle is not within an adjustable range to intonate, you've just built a piece of shit. But if you can build something that has the proper scale, first off, if you're amplifying it, I have a tendency to believe that other than the resonance of the wood, the sound is more about the pickups. But if it's like chambered, F-hole, acoustic, hollow body kind of thing, then the wood plays a big factor too. But like a solid body guitar, I mean, you've played guitars, I'm sure, that are pine. You've played ones, I'm sure, that are plywood. You've played mahogany.
Got my Masonite guitar over here.
So like, honestly, with your distortion pedal hooked up to any one of those guitars, what is the real difference fundamentally there? The pickup.
Yeah.
More than anything, it's the pickup. So, you know.
Yeah.
So the scale is really.
I was almost going to say, yeah. Like I was going to say, like for me, there's not too big of a difference. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it all comes down to also like
if you give if I gave you the Silvertone and you played it, or you played the guitar you always play, it's gonna sound like you, man, 'cause it's you.
Well,
It's
yeah.
all,
I mean,
the sound is all in your hands, you know,
well, that's
or in your style. Everybody has a fingerprint. That's what I want to say.
what you should say is that the expression is all in your hands. But like, if let's say you're playing bar chords on your guitar, and then I take your guitar and I play that same riff and those same bar chords in effectively the similar strumming style that you're playing, those tones, even though the performances won't be the same, those tones will be nearly identical.
Right.
I might attack harder or lighter than you, but the fundamental doesn't change.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, like if you play Jimi Hendrix's guitar, the fundamental of that, his guitar through his stack and pedals, you would be playing Jimmy's sound. The core of that is the same sound. Right. It's the same pickups, it's the same fuzz face, it's the same Marshall.
Nobody's gonna sound.
But you don't have this.
Yeah.
That Jimmy.
That's what I mean. Like I feel like if you gave, for instance, Jimi Hendrix any whatever setup, he's gonna.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, the sustain is a big part of like the wood and stuff, you know. But I really think for like super rocker shit with like tons of gain and grit on it, like, you know, you pick a pickup that isn't too dirty or is just dirty enough, and you fucking rock that. And I don't care. Like there's a guy around here, Chris Ostberg is his name. He's a guitar builder, modifier guy. And to try to illustrate this point one time, he took a piece of 2x6 from Lowe's and he made a flying V shape out of pegboard. And
like
he made
with all the little holes in it?
pegboard. Yeah, like what you hang tools on in a shop.
Yeah.
He made a body block, routed a neck pocket into it, put a bridge in it. He made blocks that went out to support the wings so it wouldn't break, and he put 2 humbuckers in it. That thing sounds just like a fucking $1,000 Jackson. That thing sounds just like, you know, the $300 Dean that hung next to it. Made no fucking difference. It didn't have quite the sustain of either of those two, but sonically, the tonal fingerprint of that thing came from the pickups, and it was, you know, neither one of those guitars were heads or tails above that thing sonically. So, you know, wood choice comes into play though. If you're a finger picking kind of person, you're doing things that are clean. Like, I would hate to hear a jazz guy play like a $100 Strat. There's going to be something about that that's lacking big time.
Right.
But if you put, you know, like every indie rock dude with a fuzz box on any guitar, like, it's going to work.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
the same shit.
For sure.
It's the same shit. But, you know, I like to have guitars, though, that have different selections of pickups. That to me is...
Would the pegboard guitar technically be hollow body?
Perforated body, yeah. Yep. Polka dot holes instead of F holes. But,
dude, I think we may have to...
Yeah, we should probably call it soon.
Wrap it. Probably, any final questions about anything we've been talking about? Any final points? I think this has been a super interesting stream. We've gone from Kickstarter initially to train kids.
Yeah. Hey, you know, I want to make one point about this.
I don't even know where else we went anymore.
John said, "Yeah, Silvertone,
Netflix shows.
Those lipstick pickups." So,
yeah,
the bass player in the band that I'm in, Tom is his name, right? So Tom.
We got to get Tom on here.
Yeah, he'd probably come on someday. Yeah. So Tom bought a Squire Jaguar. I stripped the headstock, color matched it, and put new decals and shit on it. It's got I think it's a Mustang bridge in that. We replaced the tremolo with one that had a locking mechanism. And then he bought Dan Electro lipstick tubes, and I cut and modified the brackets, and we put those in the stock pickguard in place of the Jaguar pickups. And I got to take pictures of that. But that is a great sounding guitar. Like, lipstick tubes are fucking, you know, those are second for me, right behind P90s, I think.
Interesting.
I really like those pickups a lot. But anyway, that was just sort of like an aside.
Yeah.
You know, Oliver uses those pickups. Oliver Ackerman from DBA, yeah, that's...
Oh, he uses lipsticks?
Yeah, because he can get them cheap. Someplace in the city, he gets them fucking cheap. But yeah, going to see A Place to Bury Strangers shows, that's where Tom got the idea for that whole thing.
Ah, okay. My guitar I'm building has lipsticks. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Jeb sent me that awesome. That's a 3 pickup guitar, right, Jeb?
Yeah, the lipsticks are fucking kick ass. And if you go to guitarfetish.com, GFS pickups, they make cheap pickups that sound awesome, and they have some lipsticks now too. For anybody who's looking to like roll some pickups.
There's another guy too. He kind of makes hand rolls them. I can't think of the guy's name. Chris Novak? Is that a guy? Curtis Novak? I think he does like more higher end stuff.
I don't know. Tom just bought a new hand scatter wound pickup for.
Yeah, this is the guy.
For his Music Master bass.
I got one of these at one point from this guy. This thing was cranked. I put it in my old Strat that I had.
Yeah. Tom's had this bracket, like what your Silvertone uses, like the U-shaped bracket with the screws through the back.
Yeah.
So I had to bend that and re-drill the holes and tap them, and that's what we ended up putting it in with.
I want to hear that guitar. That sounds dope.
It's really cool. It's not the highest output thing you ever heard, but it's got a really cool sound. With you actually have heard that.
Oh.
You know those cell tracks we were working on a long time ago?
Yeah, yep.
I have the one that I put there's like wandering leads all through it.
Yes.
Like a lot of like weird double stop slide stuff. Mm-hmm. All that double stop slide stuff lead is that guitar.
That's cool. Yep. Man, this is gonna be so amped up to jam.
Yeah, you know the lipstick, the pickup behind the bridge thing. I have some ash slabs that I'm going to make a custom guitar out of, and the idea is to put a Gretsch-style tailpiece all the way at the butt of the instrument, so that there's a long space, between the bridge and the tailpiece. And I have
getting the high sign.
Yeah, I have a pickup and a little piece of pick guard that comes from China. They're like $5 on eBay. They're meant for bolting into or screwing into acoustic guitars, but it's this neat little ornate chunk of pick guard with a pickup in it. It's like a Strat single coil or whatever. So the idea is to route out so I can put that thing in there underneath that. But I might make have a guy make me a stave snare drum out of that instead.
Is it a piezo?
No, it's not a piezo. It's a wound magnetic pickup.
PDS are they susceptible to 60? Did you ask that 60 hertz hum like singles?
The P90s, I mean, any single coil is susceptible to hum. The P90s, especially overwounds, tend to not be so bad, especially if you get one that's scatter wound.
Does that have to do with phase, or why is that?
Well, it's because it's an inductor with a single polarity. Yeah, humbuckers humbuck because you have two opposing polarities within the same structure.
Right.
So it cancels.
Right.
But, you know, if your pickup is well potted, pot them in beeswax. And if you want to know how to do that, I'll write you a tutorial. It's super easy. It'll take you an afternoon and you'll love it. Beeswax smells good too. Your wife will like it. Do it right in the kitchen. Nobody will be mad at you. But yeah, I mean, making sure it's well potted and doing the the right grounding scheme in the guitar, and making sure, like with a lipstick tube, making sure that you have a good solid shield ground to that tube is of super high importance if you want to reject hum or buzz or 120, 60, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's a cool guitar, man.
But yeah, so
I shan't look at things like that.
No.
As much as I'm a.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Pete. Is like you have one that is, let's say it's the north winding is up, the one next to it, the south winding will be up, and then the start and end are opposed basically, and that's where you get the hum cancellation. But inductors are really tricky in electrical circuits too. I mean, it's the fastest way to make a piece of audio equipment noisy is to put like an unshielded inductor in the EQ or something. It'll like fuck the whole thing up very quickly. Because inductors are essentially antennas. So your pickups, if they're not shielded right, or they're not potted properly and the thing can resonate, it's gonna pick up fucking noise. So anyway, we're getting the go sign.
Yeah, we gotta.
So
we're getting the.
Email him, email me.
Yep. You know where to find us.
Get at us on the forums next
subscribe
Wednesday.
If you're not subscribed, I think everybody here is.
Next Wednesday, catch me on my channel because
Yep.
Mike will be absent for the next 2 weeks. Hopefully, I'll have a musical guest for you. We'll do some live performance.
I'm definitely going to comment on the chat at a minimum.
Yeah, it should.
I may stream too, man. I'm going to be at the Grand Canyon. If there's some beautiful shit, I might jump on for a couple minutes, you know?
Yeah. So,
yeah, thanks. Up the Patreon if you guys want to check that out. There was something else I was going to say. Saturday. It's the 1 year anniversary of the channel.
Thanks to everybody for coming out.
Yeah, hell yeah. Saturday, 11 a.m., doing a live stream to celebrate 1 year on YouTube. So if you're around, come through. It's going to be a quick one. And I'm going to talk a little bit about YouTube and what I've learned, and it's going to be fun. We're going to do some comments and read some comments, but
yeah, we appreciate all the stuff that we always talk about with everybody on these streams. Is like, as much as it's answering questions based on knowledge and experience, it also is for me. But I feel like it helps me also push my own envelope. I am researching because of your questions. Me too. I'm researching and trying.
If you don't know something, it's like,
I'm researching and trying new shit based on the things that we talk about and the questions that you ask, mostly so that I can help you achieve what it is that you want through experiences that I'm creating. But really. So as much as like, you guys appreciate it, we appreciate it equally or more, because it's really a learning experience for everybody and a share of knowledge always. So, yeah. And I'm getting Cat Bro.
Cat Bro is giving us the high sign. He's getting hungry.
Thanks for sharing that, Cat Face. Yeah, if you guys,
Thanks to the mods and everybody, you guys, for bumping all the links and stuff. It's so awesome.
And we'll try to keep the stream just as interesting. Hopefully, it works on my device.
Yeah. I'm excited to see
fairly well in the location.
And once again, the Kickstarter. That's what this was all about tonight. Guys, thank you so much. Yeah. We couldn't have done this. Couldn't have done this. So it's amazing that we got it done. And now we get to make some cool pedals this summer.
Oh yeah, we do. Yep.
It's gonna be dope.
So all right, TascFamp, do something you want to do tonight. Do something you want to do tomorrow.
But I think we're gonna go for a walk, right? I feel
keep it sleazy. It's really nice. It's a beautiful night. We're gonna walk around and get a juice or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm feeling
me in my tuxedo.
Little post stream come down.
So thank you all for turning out.
Yeah, night guys. Thank you, Pete, Easy. Thank you guys. Get those gas station subs. Yeah. Mr. Nano was freaking out about those. All right, guys. Saturday, 11 a.m. And then next week, make sure you subscribe to Jay's channel, because Jay's going to be live from there. So
yeah, and if you don't make it out to mine, no hard feelings. But just letting you know that the next 2 Wednesdays, I'll be on my channel, hopefully with a guest both times. Actually,
that's going to be dope.
But we want to keep the thing rolling, keep you guys occupied for sure. Your Wednesday night excursion into YouTube land, and it'll get a little action on my channel, so that when we when I have some content to actually offer you, you'll be keyed into that too. So anyhow, peace out, y'all. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you catch you on the flip flop.
Catch you on the flip flop.
Bye.
Peace.